at Heine Motors, Mountain Top, Letterkenny.
Good morning to you, Gregory.
Good morning, Lee.
You look distracted this morning.
It's just that thing you mentioned about Crowded House back in the charts.
Yeah, there are 20 in the Irish charts. That's why I played them this morning.
Why is it again?
You said that song was in some kind of series. I don't think so. It was too slow for that. Maybe a movie.
No, I think it's like some sort of a scene of a film or something. Because it happens. You remember Milli Vanilli, don't you?
Yeah, I remember what?
Milli Vanilli, the band Milli Vanilli.
Yes, from
the
yeah.
80s
They
and
wrote that
90s.
slow one, that guitar. It was acoustic one.
Well,
What
they
did-
never wrote anything because they were just
Fronting
two
it.
German fellas that were miming the songs.
That's right.
But they've a track called "I'm Gonna Miss You,"
Right.
which was used in the Monsters program on Netflix. You see, and it's got new traction.
All right. Okay. So maybe
Right.
this has got new traction
That's
as well.
exactly. But I can almost.
But somebody's going to text
can't
in now on
figure out.
WhatsApp.
It's in
We'll get the
something.
traction going. Michael Leddy will know. Or Fanula.
Would he?
Would he?
Nah.
Fanula, no.
Don't be fooled by thinking just because they come in to chat to me on a Friday that they know stuff.
Did not know stuff. They're squatting all week, are they?
Right, okay, that's annoyed me now.
All right.
In a nice way. It's,
Nice edge
sort of
for
a
you to
mental
scratch
challenge.
later. All right.
All right, Gooch.
Good
Have
luck.
a goodie, okay? It is the 9 till noon show, and thanks to Lee once again. But let's get a news update at 9, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach is calling on the Sinn Féin leader to use the Dáil today to lay everything out on the table about Brian Stanley's resignation from the party. Members of the Public Accounts Committee say they will not cooperate with the new Sinn Féin chair until party controversies are addressed. Committee members say they won't cooperate until Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald provides further details on an inquiry into a complaint made against the Laois Offaly TD. Taoiseach Simon Harris says Mary Lou McDonald should take today to give all the facts to the public.
We shouldn't need to have a kind of drip feed of information. I've consistently said I believe the leader of Sinn Féin, my political difference aside, to be a decent person. And today is an opportunity to put all the information out on the table for once and for all.
The 100% Redress Party has selected Charles Ward as their general election candidate. A native of Armore Island, now living in Drumkeen, Mr Ward is a defective block homeowner. He says as well as the defective block crisis being high on his agenda, other challenges that face the people of Donegal will be a priority for him, including a worsening housing crisis, mental health concerns, gaps in education and struggles with ageing infrastructure. Mr Ward says in addition the pressures facing healthcare workers is important to him as he witnesses them firsthand.
I'm a healthcare assistant. I can see that the healthcare system currently is on its knees and we need help and support. Donegal is a forgotten county and we need all the workers, all the healthcare workers, nurses to get behind us and help the 100% Redress Party get elected so that they have a voice too.
The OPW and the court service are being urged to explore how they can help to improve the cultural quarter in Letterkenny. Councillor Cian Brogan believes the area around Angrenan Theatre, the Regional Cultural Centre, the tennis club and the courthouse can be more open and available to the general public. He says that, however, will require gates being left open and more lighting around the courthouse. Councillor Brogan wants a conversation to begin now.
The new courthouse is a fabulous building. It's a massive civic building, and I think so much is tucked away and it's hidden there. And I believe that if the council was to engage with the court service and the OPW, maybe to see how we could open up the access around that whole development and improve some of the access around it as well. But I think the more engagement we can have locally to try and improve that area, improve the simple things like the lighting and maybe some of the signage as well, could make a huge difference.
Weather now this morning will be mostly cloudy with patches of mist and drizzle. During the afternoon and evening, outbreaks of rain will develop, turning heavy at times. Highest temperatures of 14 or 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
A farmer, a retailer and an ice cream van owner have in common? They all rely on this planet. Every business does. That's why AIB is here to help. Our Green Living Hub has the practical knowledge and support businesses need to become more sustainable. Search AIB Green Business to find out more. AIB, for the life you're after. Allied Irish Banks plc is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to Noon Show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning to you. It is 4 minutes past 9 on this Tuesday, the 15th of October 2024. Good morning and welcome along to another edition of the 9 till Noon Show. And it's the usual bumper-packed mix of conversation, news and what have you. All right, we want you involved in that conversation, of course. I know you know the numbers, but for those just tuning in for the first time, how do you get in touch? Well, if you're listening and something you want to comment about comes on, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. WhatsApps and texts to that number. If you prefer to call us, we love that too. 07491 25,000. And if you want to email, it's comments@highlandradio.com. And that day to remind you that you can also watch this programme if you want to see most of our guests. Then you can watch it on your smart TV or Fire Stick if you're at home. That's on the YouTube app, which is on both devices. Just search Highland Radio Ireland. We're on the mobiles on that app as well. Also, Facebook, Highland Radio News, Sport and Obituaries, Highland Hub, and on the X platform. Right, let's look at the papers this morning. And of course, it's all about Sinn Féin in every single paper because the story is developing all the while. Because there's different statements being released, different timelines being clarified and so on and so forth. The Irish Times, it's their top story. Sinn Féin says it told Laois Offaly TD Brian Stanley in September to go to the Garda with concerns he raised during inquiry into a complaint against him. That's a critical piece of information potentially. With the issue set to dominate today, the rift between Sinn Féin and its former TD grew as the party hit back at Mr Stanley's suggestions it should have reported these concerns after he raised them with the party last month during the inquiry. Mr Stanley resigned as a Sinn Féin member on Saturday evening, citing a kangaroo court set up by the party after the complaint about him was lodged in late July. During the investigation of the complaint, Mr Stanley said yesterday he raised serious matters with the panel investigating the allegations of September 10th or 11th, and that the party should have referred it to the Gardaí. Mr Stanley's resignation was followed by a referral of the matter to the Garda by Sinn Féin, which is now facing criticism for not doing so sooner. It's understood there was some uncertainty in the Garda yesterday about how and through which route Sinn Féin had filed the referral, with attempts made yesterday in the force to locate it. A source said the referral did not appear to have been lodged in Dublin or with Garda HQ. In a statement last night, the Garda said, in the general and without commenting on any specific matter, third-party referrals to An Garda Síochána initially examined to determine whether they meet the threshold for a potential criminal offence. They are not automatically subject to criminal investigation. The issue, along with several other political controversies Sinn Féin has been embroiled in during the last fortnight, is expected to be discussed during Dáil statements on child protection today. And it's a difficult one, and it's one that Sinn Féin is going to have to ride out, but I presume the government parties are looking closely at what's going on. And if they want a November election, they have to get a move on this week. And maybe they might think that the iron is hot to strike. Who's to say? The Irish Daily Mail this morning, we touched on this yesterday, but I know there's an awful lot of people interested in this and employed in these areas. Owners of pubs and restaurants and representatives of the retail and tourism sector are to protest outside Leinster House today over rising costs that they say are pushing them to breaking point. They're holding a day of action highlighting what they say is the lack of meaningful support provided by the government in Budget 25. The Restaurant Association of Ireland, the Vintners Federation of Ireland and other small business representative groups say the government failed to heed their call for a restoration in the VAT rate. Last month, the RAI reported 612 food-serving hospitality businesses had shut down since the VAT rate for the sector increased from 9 to 13.5% on September 1st last year. More have closed since, including Connolly's Cafe in Oughterard, County Galway. Owners Francis Kieran and Helen Conneely wrote in a post on social media, "It is with deep regret and heartache that we announced the closure of Clonely's Cafe on Sunday," but they go on to talk about the economic environment, which is, and I've seen at least 2 Facebook posts of Donegal businesses in the last 2 weeks citing the same issues. It's just too difficult to do business, and it seems to be in the small and medium enterprise sector. Shops, restaurants, pubs, they can't survive. And as we said yesterday, there are some supports there they don't believe they're enough, but also they can be very hard to apply because those that might need the most might be in a payment plan on business rates or what have you, which precludes them or excludes them from accessing them. On to the Irish Independent this morning. Numerous transactions relating to property purchases, fund transfer loans and takeovers involving the Peter McVerry Trust homelessness charity took place without the knowledge or approval of its board. In one transaction, an external auditor was used to purchase a property for the charity, so its involvement in the deal would not become public. Funds donated to the charity for specific purposes were used for other reasons, including paying creditors. The findings were made in a damning report published yesterday after a year-long investigation by inspectors appointed by the charity's regulator. They point to failures in board oversight of the management and administration of the state's largest non-government provider of emergency accommodation for homeless people. The charity, originally known as the Arup Society, was founded by Father Peter McVerry in 1983, but he has not been involved in the day-to-day running for almost 2 decades. On to the red top tabloids now. Let's start with The Sun. And EU countries must do more to help UN peacekeepers in the Middle East, Taoiseach Micheál Martin has claimed. And he yesterday called on several EU member states to stand up now on the side of what's right and proper and moral in terms of humanity. His comments come as the Taoiseach spoke with Israeli President Isaac Herzog and slammed the outrageous and unacceptable targeting of UN troops in Lebanon. A number of peacekeepers have been injured in Israeli military attacks on UN bases in southern Lebanon over recent days. Ireland has 380 soldiers on peacekeeping duties in Lebanon, with the Defence Forces stating yesterday that all are safe and well despite the challenging situation. And there's a rotation coming up in a couple of weeks, and we know there's 60 or 70 Donegal-based soldiers due to head over there as we speak. On Sunday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu called on the UN to withdraw its peacekeepers from areas that he labelled Hezbollah strongholds. He claimed that the UN is providing Hezbollah militants with human shields by staying in the combat zone, and said, get the UNIFIL forces out of harm's way. It should be done right now. We'll see how that plays out. As long as they're not, whatever they decide to do, hopefully it's the right thing to do, as long as the human lives of the peacekeepers there, and everyone else for that matter, is not sort of on the table or being used as some sort of a lever. You'd hope it's not the case. The Irish Daily Mirror this morning. Northern Ireland can be a dangerous place for women, a Stormont minister has told the Assembly. Andrew Murr was answering an urgent question following the killing of 4 women in the region in 6 weeks. DUP MLA Joanne Bunting tabled the question, asking if the Justice Minister, Niamh Long, has any plans to update her department's domestic and sexual abuse strategy following the recent spate of deaths. Agriculture Minister Mr Murr answered the question in the absence of Miss Long. He began by offering condolences to the families of 4 women, Mary Ward, Rachel Simpson, Sophie Watson and Montserrat Martorell. The Minister added, we fully recognise that Northern Ireland can be a dangerous place for women, as shown by the troubling statistics of domestic and sexual abuse. This is exactly why the new domestic and sexual abuse strategy was developed, to address these deeply concerning issues. It's being developed. What's happening to implement it and actually address the scenario that's leading to the loss of these women's lives. And finally, in the Irish Daily Star, just keep an eye out if you see a QR code on a parking machine, not a parking machine, a ticket machine. You know where you get your tickets for parking. Someone's putting QR codes over the top of it. So the QR code, by the way, it's square shaped, and it's got loads of different black shapes within it. You'll have seen them. You normally scan it, and that means you can pay online. But someone's actually putting different QR codes which direct you somewhere else. It effectively is just a shortcut for your phone using a camera. But motorists are being warned of a new QR code scam on public parking meters that's taken €1,000 from one victim. Local councils nationwide are urging people to be vigilant, as this new scam has been spotted in several towns. Many parking meters now include a QR code that allows motorists to pay the parking online. However, criminals have been placing their fake QR codes on top of the genuine stickers, hoping to scam people out of thousands of euro. When the bogus QR code is scanned, it brings the customer to a fake website that requests credit card details, and it's understood the issue came to light in Greystones, Wicklow, when a woman was scammed out of 1,000. So when you scan this code, it will take you to, this is where it becomes problematic. It will take you to a place, a website that looks like the website where you would buy a legitimate parking ticket. You input your payment details, and once they have that, they can take whatever you have in your account out. A spokesperson for Wicklow County Council said Wicklow County Council was recently made aware. I'll just get to the bit where it's important. The QR code sticker brings you a user to a fraudulent code website that requests credit card details and other personal data. We have reported this to An Garda Síochána and Payzone. All pay and display machines in the Bray, Arklow, Greystones and Wicklow municipal districts have been checked, and any bogus QR codes on these machines have been removed. But that's not good enough, because I think really those QR codes need to be done away with until they come up with a solution, because it is very hard to counter that scam. Because if you're parking for the first time, you would be expected to input your, I've done it myself, you would be expected to input your payment details. Now, I couldn't trust if I'm doing it on the official website or a cloned website. So until such time as they figure that out, I think they probably need to get rid of those QR codes altogether.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Attention Donegal, Derry and Tyrone. PD Bathrooms and Tiles are proud to unveil our newest and most stunning showroom in Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana. Located right opposite the Northwest Golf Course, we offer unbeatable quality and incredible value. For 30 years, we've been the experts in total refits, stocking and serving as the sole agent for many top brands. Visit us today and transform your space with the finest bathroom and tile solutions. Telephone 93 95 884. PD Bathrooms and Tiles, where excellence meets value. Lisfannon Business Park, Buncrana, F93H10F.
Looking for a technology partner to help you reach your business goals? With cybersecurity solutions from Vodafone, your business can hack off the hackers. And with our collaboration tools like Microsoft 365, your business can bring the team together, wherever they are. Keeping your business secure and productive. Make technology work for you with solutions and support from Vodafone. Search Your Business Can today.
Glasgow calling. Fly from Donegal with Loganair for a seamless travel experience. Book your flight now at loganair.co.uk and discover the vibrant city of Glasgow. Travel with ease and comfort from Donegal to Glasgow with Loganair.
Hi, Paddy here at Shane Conley Cars in Donegal Town. Are you looking to upgrade your car? With Shane Conley Cars, you'll find makes and models for every budget. Great finance options, and we also accept trade-ins. Check out ShaneConleyCars.com or call in to us at Shane Conley Cars from Lonaher Road, Donegal Town.
This Friday, the 9 till noon show is live from Rush Fitness to celebrate their 10-year anniversary. As Letterkenny's original fitness community and home of the Fit in 42 Challenge, Emmett, Maria and the team offer 5-star small group personal training and bespoke corporate wellness packages. Don't miss the open day from 10 a.m. till 12 and birthday bash at 5. That's the 9 till noon show this Friday live from Rush Fitness in Letterkenny as they celebrate their 10th anniversary.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is?
It is 9:18. Josephine Kelly's project officer at Carja na Haragala joins us now. Good morning to you. Thanks for your time, Josephine.
Good morning, Greg.
Good to have you on the show.
On.
Yeah, no, we're speaking about details being released. It's the creation of a master plan for the village of Dunlewy and the wider landscape. It's been published, and it's been an ongoing project. A lot of work has gone into this.
Yeah, this project's been going on now. Probably, you're going back 12 years back to when we started campaigning for something to be done with Errigal, and we could see the damage that was being done in Errigal and the increased visitor numbers. And we've been working very closely with the council in the last number of years to develop that path, which was all about protecting the habitat on Errigal and kind of keeping people on a narrow line. And that has worked really well. And we've a really good relationship with the council. But we know that we have challenges at Errigal and in the village of Dunlewy as well. Visitors have been commenting on the car parking facilities there at Errigal, the issues with safety. The landowners who have given permission for this path to be constructed have also been highlighting that issue. There's cars parked on both sides of the road. At times, there's up to 200 cars parked there. So that brings a lot of challenges. It's an SAC, so it's not something that there's an easy solution to. We can't really potentially increase the size of the car park there because it's an SAC. And even if we could, do we really want to create a car park there in such a special area? No, that's going to accommodate 200 cars. So we're looking at what the solutions are for that. And one of the things we're looking at is, can we bring the visitors into the village of Dunlewy?
Well, that's it too, because there hasn't been potentially the lift for Dunlewy that there should be, given the fact that Errigal's on the doorstep, but also the fact that it's part of the local community and the community give over so much.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And Errigal is iconic. We're finding that there's visitors coming from all over the country now on a daily basis and coming from abroad, because it's become like a social media hype as well, and people want to come and get their photograph taken. So it's try and keep the people in the area and to create diversity for them, and so that there's other things for them to do. But we also need to consider the long-term management of the area and those visitor numbers, because it's a thriving community. There's people living there on a day-to-day basis, and we want to be sure that the facilities and the infrastructure are put in to manage these increased visitor numbers that are coming.
Yeah, and I'm sorry to bring it down to monetary value again, but it is quite important. We do see areas like, say, for instance, Malin Head, and how long people stay there, and the local spend. It's very, very low. And I imagine the same can be quite similar in Dunlewy as well. Do you know what I mean? You have the traffic, you have to accommodate all of that, you have the footfall, but there's bound to be opportunities there as well, where if there's a tourism spend, that the local area can benefit.
Exactly, yeah. And we're in a great position that we have in Law there. The committee and the Córchumann have worked tirelessly over the last 2 years to renovate and to improve the facilities there. So it's only a small step to get them to come from Errigal into Dunlewy and to spend their time there and to stay overnight if at all possible. And we're surrounded by a beautiful landscape that has huge potential and huge opportunities. And it's just a matter of looking at how we can give sustainable access to those areas and create kind of a package of products that we can encourage people to come and to stay and to spend money there. But as I said, we're also looking at the challenges that are there for the local community. Traffic is a big, and speed is a big issue in Dunlewy. We have there's been improvements made there in the last number of years, but we're finding that people aren't heeding the speed limits. There's kids going to school in the mornings, and the traffic is at as busy as at that time. Over the summer months, we have up to 120 Irish language students coming to stay in Dunlewy, and a lot of them stay in Upper Dunlewy, and there's no connection. There's no footpath facilities between Upper and Lower Dunlewy, so it's a safety hazard for them as well. So this plan is looking at a whole range of things, from the landscape to visitor management to our language as well. Like Dunlewy is a gateway to the Gaeltacht, and most people arrive and pass through Dunlewy and don't even realise that they're in a Gaeltacht. So it's looking at all of those opportunities and how we can turn the challenges that we're having into opportunities.
And some of those opportunities might actually increase the popularity of a visit to Errigal, right? So I mean, I'm not asking you for figures, but what are the numbers now? What can Mount Errigal tolerate in terms of the numbers, and how can that be managed? Is that part of the plan?
Yeah, well, we have counters on Errigal at the minute. They've been in place since about February, and the figures we're looking at are roughly about 30,000 visitors coming there every year. And we're expecting the numbers were a little bit less this year because we've been asking people when that damage was done to the path earlier in the summer, maybe just to stay away from Errigal in the meantime. That work has been done now. The path has been repaired, but as a rough estimate, we're looking at about 30,000 people. The path can sustain that number if it's spread out over a wider period. What it can't sustain is large numbers of people coming on the same day. And, part of what we need to do as well is look at the overall management of events on Errigal. There's a lot of charity groups come and climb Errigal, and we need to kind of put a facility in place that we know who's coming, we know what charity events are happening, and that we can ensure that, there's not 2 or 3 different events happening.
So do you see in the future then access being managed?
We will probably have to look at it in some way, definitely, yeah, especially for larger events, because it's an infrastructure that's there. If you had any type of park or any type of building, you would need to be putting some kind of management plan in place, and that's what we're wanting to do.
Which eventually means money too, and it can cost really to go to go to Slieve League, for an example. Is that what we're looking at here, effectively?
The landowners in Errigal were very adamant when they gave permission for this path to be done, is that they didn't really want to see people being charged to use the mountain. But we may have to look at something to manage the visitor numbers. So if we're going to look at something like maybe a shuttle bus from from Dunleary out, similar to what they have in Slieve League, then we probably will have to look at some kind of costing to cover that cost. It's been done in other areas. The Snowdon in Wales is a good example where they have a reduced number of car parking facilities at the bottom of the mountain, and it's kind of comes as a
just there's something changes when you commercialize something, and I know it's not a commercial enterprise, right? But that's just the word that comes to mind. Something changes though when you commercialize something.
Yeah, well, we as we said, the landowners were particular, didn't want to commercialise it. We don't want to commercialise it, but we need to manage the mountain long term, and there's going to be a cost there in some way, so it has to be offset. So that's something we're looking at. We don't have the solution at the minute, and this is what this plan is about. What we're asking is for people's opinions, both the visitors to the area, to the wider Dunleary community, but also the local community in Dunleary. What issues and what challenges are they facing?
And this is a question that's come up when we talk about 2040 plans for Letterkenny. It's not exclusive to this, but it's about getting the simple things right now. We're talking about what we're going to do over 6 years, what might be done by 2014. People want toilets there yesterday. Now, does the basics end up waiting to form part of the greater plan?
Yeah, well, again, there's an issue with toilets there. It's just such a sensitive landscape. It's just, we don't know if it's going to be possible to construct toilets there. But if we can have an area, a hub within Dunleary, potentially maybe at the likes of Innacushloha, where that is the starting point and the finish point for visitors, that those facilities are there, that we're able to manage them easily there.
Right. How do people engage in the creation of this master plan for the village of Dunleary?
Well, there's a survey out at the minute that will be live for the next 3 weeks. So you can get the survey on either our website, errigalmountain.com, or on our Facebook page. If you go to Facebook and search Errigal Mountain, you'll find us there. Following the survey, we're having community engagement. We're having workshops in Dunleary, and we'll be inviting people to come in and to give their opinions and to chat with us. We're also engaging with the stakeholders. We have a range of stakeholders in and around Dunleary. Glen Bay National Park is just immediately our immediate neighbour. We have the Culture Forestry, we have ESB. So there's a lot of larger stakeholders involved in Errigal, and the consultants who have been appointed to do this work will be consulting with them.
Caller says, great to see some work being done in Errigal. I love climbing it on a regular basis, but recently the large number have been putting me off, especially when charities are climbing. Like, that reminds me a little bit like Aisling, who likes to go shopping but doesn't like when it's too busy in Letterkenny. everyone else can't stay at home, so you can do what everyone else wants to do. Do you know what I mean? So I respect what this person's saying, but that everybody is of the same mind as them, and that's why it's so. It's not a hidden little secret for locals and those that climb on a regular basis.
As well as before, there's like the peak times used to be kind of between 12 and 3 o'clock, maybe on a Saturday and Sunday. We're finding now that some of the peaker times are first thing in the morning. Or in the evening time, because people want to be up for either the sunrise or the sunset, and that's something that wasn't happening before. And then that brings the challenges, because there's cars travelling at speed on that back of Errigal Road at late in the evening, and they're not expecting to find a large number of cars parked along the side of the road when they come around that corner. So yeah, the whole dynamic has changed, and we need to future-proof it.
Yeah, I don't know, it probably sounds naive from my perspective, but I think things like this would be very useful, especially with the likes of the Mountain Rescue, DMRT and others in mind. If there's some sort of a traffic light system, in terms of, weather, like green, it's okay, amber, extra cautious, red, don't go up there. But that's probably not realistic, and it's like everything, we don't do stuff because then someone has to maintain it, and we generally avoid doing it then. All right, okay, so people can, and this is not just for the people of Dunlewy, the surrounding areas, it's for anyone. We all have an interest. It's all of ours, Mount Errigal. Of course, it particularly impacts the locals, but it's surveymonkey.com/r/ and I'll spell it DUNLUICHE, but it's linked on your websites, and we'll do it on ours as well, because we're at a point here now where something could happen in 4 years or 5 years, and people go, well, I didn't know it was happening, or no one consulted me, right? And this is the point really now where you have to get involved and have a bit of a say in it, because this is effectively a public consultation. Right, we shall see how it all pans out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much indeed. Take care of yourself. That is Josephine Kelly there, Project Officer at Carja na Heragala. And it's a plan for the next 6 years into 2040. Do you ever feel like my entire life, it feels that anything we took, this is a by the by, not relating to this or criticism, but it feels like everything is for the future. Do you ever get the feeling that nothing is about now? I feel like I can mention a million things. If you were thinking of getting an electric car, the electric charging infrastructure will be soon. If you're thinking, I've got millions of these, the development of Letterkenny, that's going to be in a while. Do you remember that you talked about these areas, the outdoor, indoor kind of spatial areas, the millions that were announced for a number of towns around Donegal, like the one out Ballymafesh and all? Do you remember it was like a big canopy and all? Where's that? When's that? That's soon. Everything seems to be down the line. What about a nice, handy road to drive down to Dublin, the upgraded of the A5? That's coming. It's coming soon. What about a railway in Donegal? It's coming. When's anything now? Oh, yeah. What about, you won't have to wait 6 months for a driving test. There's driving testers coming soon. Not now, soon. I just want stuff now. Why can't I have something now? Everything's soon. I feel like I'm 3 months old, or 3 years old, sitting in the back of the car. All right, okay, that's by the by. I love the actor Brendan O'Carroll. I love that the actor Brendan O'Carroll has apologised over a clumsy joke where a racial term was implied, yet he's made money out of his constant jokes on the Catholic Church, which are extremely derogatory and no apologies ever issued. I've kind of seen that story, but never read it, so I don't know exactly what he said. I will. A caller says, so 2 out of every 3 victims of all homicide offences in 23 were male, while 33% were female. This compared with 71% for males and 29% for females in 2022. Nearly 7 in 10 victims of murder or manslaughter were male, compared with 31% for females in 23. April 30th, 2024. So female deaths or victims are more important than male ones, really. The denigration and persistent undermining of men continues. I think that's... I think you have to understand what's the cause of the murder, right? So there's lots of reasons why men are killed, lots of reasons as to why that might happen for various reasons, arguments, fights, whatever it might be. These are men that are killing women, strangling them in their homes. This is different. This is people living with others or people that they know very well being subjected to very violent deaths because they're women and because the man's in a position of power and probably has more strength. That doesn't mean that men's life or men's murder is important But I mean, it's, for me as a man, it's really quite clear why we're talking about the killing of women as some of the most brutal deaths in their own homes with people that they trust and stayed with because they tried to keep things together and what have you. The other deaths are equally tragic and should be avoided. But if you know exactly where I'm coming from, you know why there's a particular interest on these killings. Planes in Churchill are leaving chemtrails. This is a constant stream of white trails up above us. There's a grid pattern across the sky today. With the pattern, there is a vapor in the air and it won't go away. What is happening? I love the fact that, and I'm not saying chemtrails are not a thing, right? But I love the fact that people have the, I mean, if you see what's happening in America at the moment, Kamala Harris and Donald Trump out there, and the two vice presidents as well, constantly putting their foot in it, making mistakes, all that type of stuff. You look at the chaos in the British government at the moment, and many would feel that, you know, we can't build a bike shed, but it costs 300 or 400 grand. And yet people seem to think, and this is probably my naivety, people seem to think that these same people in this authority are actually capable. They're capable of creating weather, certain types of weather or certain types of illnesses, keeping it a secret and actually doing it potentially under budget. That's the part of it I don't. Who is doing the chemtrails? Because I don't really see an administration in the Western world at the moment that would be capable of A, the technology, B, the budgeting, and C, the secrecy. But anyway, maybe I am wet behind the ears and naive. Speaking of the weather, I see the rowan trees are weighed down with berries. Is this a sign of good winter or is it normal? What do you think, guys? You know, there's lots of little things that many of you of an older generation see, a sense in the weather that gives an indication of winters. Maureen says he's right about the Catholic Church. That's the Brendan O'Connor reference. As I say, I haven't watched much of his stuff. If I'm truthful, I've watched none of it, and I didn't read that article today. And good morning, Charlie, watching as usual. Thanks, Charlie. Mike's there. Good morning, Mike. And Marie O'Donnell also watching us on our social media. It's great to have you on board. You amongst the hundreds that choose to watch every day across the various platforms. Okay, let's take a break.
Watch the show live now on YouTube, Facebook, and at highlandradio.com. The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
At the heart of every successful business are highly skilled and talented people. That's why at SkillNet Ireland, we know that every skill counts. Whatever sector your business operates in and whatever skills you or your business needs, contact one of our 70 SkillNet business networks for training and development that's industry-led and can improve your business success. Visit skillnetireland.ie for upskilling and reskilling supports to develop your team. SkillNet Ireland is a business support agency of the Government of Ireland.
With more routes nationwide, your TFI Local Link bus service provides connection to the wider Transport for Ireland public transport network. Save up to 30% when you use your TFI Leap card on TFI Local Link services. For route and timetable information, visit transportforireland.ie. We're Transport for Ireland. We're transport for you.
For all you hard workers and multitaskers, those who come to work with big ambitions and bigger ideas, and all you legends of the trade, however you get the job done, there's a Volkswagen commercial vehicle for your business. Choose the new Transporter, Caddy Cargo, Crafter, Amarok, or the all-electric ID Buzz Cargo. Enjoy HB finance from 0% or purchase contributions of up to €2,000. Find the Volkswagen in you with the 251 range.
Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland. Visit volkswagenvans.ie for further information.
Houseproud are celebrating 15 years in business by giving you 15% off everything in our big birthday sale. That's 15% off furniture, sofas, beds, dining sets and more for a limited time only. So grab yourself 15% birthday bargains today. Call in store at Strabane Superstore, Abercorn Square or Oma Great Northern Retail Park or shop online at houseproudfurnishings.com.
Hello, winter. My family is ready for you because I know that up to 70% of the immune system lives in the gut. That's why I've stocked up on Optivac, Ireland's most recommended friendly bacteria supplements. With 20% off selected favourites wherever you buy your supplements, that's something to feel good about this October. Feel good and opt for Optivac.
You're welcome back to the show. Moya Brennan, Noel Cunningham for about 15 years. Jason Black, Shay Given, and of course Daniel O'Donnell. They're all former recipients of the Donegal Association's Donegal Person of the Year. Who would you like to see collect this prestigious award for 2024? Well, you can nominate your choice for the 2024 Donegal Person of the Year through the Donegal Association website, donegalassociation.ie. Finn McAward is Vice Chair of the Donegal Association in Dublin. He's with us now. Good morning, Finn. Finn, thanks very much for your time.
Good morning.
Good to have you with us. Okay, so nominations are open now, and the public have an opportunity to add a name to that illustrious list. It's a very important initiative, this, isn't it? Why is it so important to do this from a Donegal Association Dublin's perspective?
Yeah, well, the awards go back to, I believe, 1978, and the Donegal Association decided it would be a great idea to have this. I don't know whether they were basing it on somebody else's ideas or whatever, but it started, and I believe the first recipient was the very famous Father James McDyer, a Glenties man, but who was parish priest in Glencullen. And it continued from then, and there's been a Donegal Person of the Year ever since, obviously, apart from COVID. And of course, Noel Cunningham was lucky or unlucky to
I think he
have
was lucky.
the award for a number of years. It could only happen to Noel, of course, but it's been a great initiative. It's very well attended every year, and no question whatsoever, there have been very, very worthy recipients of the award. So a very, very popular thing for us here in Dublin.
Yes, and what it tends to do then is what you have, we've a large population in Dublin, of course, but it's not just the person being announced, it's a celebration of their contribution. I'm thinking of Moya Brennan, Noel as well, Shay and others. You know, it's what they've contributed and it's celebrated on the night, which I think is actually really nice, because often we recognise people and their contribution after they've passed on. This is very much different to that. These people are full of life and a long life ahead of them. But I think there's something particularly nice about that.
Yeah, to the best of my knowledge, we haven't had a posthumous award yet, and hopefully it doesn't come to that. And no, it's a wonderful award, and some of the people who have received it have received many other awards, and they've pretty much said that this one is right up there with some of the awards that they won, including Moya Brennan, our wonderful recipient last year. They've said that they've received wonderful awards internationally and so on, and yet they're just so proud of this award. But these things are not given out willy-nilly. They are the result of, great achievements by these people. And
so what's the criteria, Finnan? What's the criteria, though? So I think it's changed somewhat, and I can't remember why it was, but it's changed somewhat. So the person doesn't necessarily now have to have been born in Donegal, but of course they have to be recognised as a Donegal person. Is that correct?
Well, yeah, I'm reading what the criteria is. Generally, the person should be from Donegal and have made a significant contribution to the county at local, national level or international level. Now, of course, my understanding is that if a person has a strong connection with Donegal or live in Donegal and qualifies in the other ways, that they'll certainly be considered. Brian Friel was a case in point where Brian, my understanding is that he was born in Tyrone, raised in Derry, but lived in Inishowen. But then his mother was from Glenties. And so I don't think anybody questioned Brian Friel's entitlement to be considered a Donegal man and to be considered for a Donegal Person of the Year. So once we cleared up the technicalities, it was a fairly easy choice at the time. But yes, contributing a strong connection with Donegal will also get you there. And I don't think we've had any objections over the years.
No. Now, nominations, it's always good to give more information, of course. So you nominate your person. You can set out the reasons for nominating the person. And if you wish to bolster your argument, you can provide support and documentation and endorsements from individuals and groups. Just to recap, you make a nomination through the website donegalassociation.ie or by writing to the Donegal Association, 33 Upper Merrion Street, Dublin 2, or emailing info@donegalassociation.ie. And is there always a big, I presume there is, a big interest in this, lots of suggestions?
Oh yeah, and they come from all walks of life. The obvious ones are if you're very well known, maybe in the sporting or in the musical background. But people have, for example, about 5 years ago, we had Stephen McCahill from originally Glenties, but living in Ardara. Now, Stephen was a very worthy recipient of the award. Stephen wouldn't be known really much outside his own area, but his contribution to his local area there has been massive. And he's played a huge contribution to the GAA in Ardara. And as I say, he wouldn't be known maybe outside Donegal or even his own local area. But again, I thought he was a very, very worthy recipient of the award. But other people then that have been considered are people who have contributed greatly to charities and to voluntary work. And of course, 2 years ago, we had the people of Creeslough. That was an exceptional case, of course. So we're very much open to different ideas. And as I say, you don't have to be a famous person at international level or anything like that. It might be something very, very local that you've contributed to. If you contributed greatly to your local area, then you'll certainly be in the running if somebody puts your name forward.
This question comes in annually. I wish someone from Dublin would explain to me why we have to go to Dublin for this award. Why is it the event not held in Donegal? But it is the Dublin Association, and it seems quite obvious to me as to why it's held down there. Anyone's free to, if they have an association or an organisation in Donegal, to do it up here. You know, you've got the freedom of the county and stuff like that there. But it is quite obvious why the Donegal Association Dublin hosts this event in Dublin, isn't it? Because it's a Dublin association.
Yes, it started in Dublin, obviously, and we, I suppose, look upon it as a Donegal Dublin event. Just personally, I'm not saying that we could rule it out from happening in Donegal at some stage, but for the moment, I think we will stay in Dublin. And again, it's extremely well attended every year, anything from 350 to over 500 people. And so I think that speaks for itself. And as we know, nothing is getting cheaper anymore, but yet the people come out and support us. So it's clear that that there's support for it with the people in Dublin. As I say, I wouldn't rule it out from happening in Donegal at some stage. It hasn't really been discussed, but perhaps we'll discuss it at some stage.
Yeah, okay. Listen, brilliant stuff. Hopefully there's another huge interest in this again this year. How long do people have for their nominations finally, Finan?
Yes, our nominations are open until the end of November. So we'd really ask people to follow the instructions that you gave there. Donegal Association Dublin, info@Donegal Association Dublin. And if you can get people to support, you might have a very strong idea as to who should get it. But if you get other people to back your claims, then that probably will be a big help to your nomination.
Yeah. Okay. Brilliant stuff. Because you have to do. I think really what this is about is someone that maybe you admire, you think is worthy of this, but you might have to put a bit of work on. Say, right, well, what can I do to best get the point across but give them the best chance. So I get that. All right, thanks very much indeed. That's Finan McAward there, Vice Chair of the Donegal Association. So, of course, go along to donegalassociation.ie and nominate who you wish. But listen, let's play a game here. Obviously, we want you to go and nominate. You want you to go and nominate on their website, so it's official. We don't want to direct any traffic away from there. But text or WhatsApp, who do you think should be the Donegal 2024 Person of the Year and why? 086 60 25,000. So who should be the Donegal Person of the Year 2024 and why? Mark English, he's had a fantastic year. Did he get it before? I'm not really quite sure. Anyway, there's loads of people out there very, very worthy of it. So let me know. 086 60 25,000. Who do you think should be the Donegal Person of the Year 2024 and why? Let us know. Okay, back with more after this short break.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Heron Auto Donegal Town is offering a €5,000 scrappage sale on all 241 Opel and Kia cars. The deal includes models like the Opel Corsa, Astra, Mokka, Crossland and Kia Ceed, Nero, Exceed and Sportage. Available in both automatic and manual options. Call in to Heron Auto today. Now might be a great time to take advantage of this €5,000 scrappage deal. Finance available on all cars, so call to Heron Auto Donegal Town today.
Bogamid Fuinnev na Heron. Trichand and Aline Rí Gás is nua aimsras in Europe. A cor and Fuinnev atag tastal wet fall in new fud na tira. Agus a nish ta Fuinnev na Heron a vuga agwing valak nua. Ag tort Fuin Chini's in Vulna is Jack Sophieblina. Gas Networks Ireland. Moving Ireland's energy.
You are the heart of your farm. Your fields, your livestock, your family all depend on you. But to take care of them, you need to take care of yourself. Free health checks are coming to marts and events near you, making it easy to look after your health. Prioritise your health today. Visit ifa.ie/health check for more details. Because you are the heart of your farm. This is an IFA initiative supported by CRE and funded by the Department of Agriculture.
That's the sound of someone sleeping soundly on a Restex mattress. Choose from the Donegal range. A Teelan, a Kinnigo, or a Mulroy mattress. It'll change the way you sleep forever. Restex beds, Mountain Top Letterkenny. Leave the rest to us.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. If you haven't started using the McElhenny's Layaway Club, it's not too late. Spread the cost of Christmas with designer gifts for the whole family. Available by phone or in-store at McElhenny's Ballybuffet.
Right, this morning will be mostly cloudy with patches of mist and drizzle. During the afternoon and evening, outbreaks of rain will develop, turning heavy at times. Mild and humid, temperatures 14 or 15 degrees, and a little warmer actually, I believe, tomorrow. So do you remember the, I was going to say controversy, but it wasn't a controversy, it was a conversation about Rory Gallagher's guitar. It's a very famous signature Fender Stratocaster guitar. Now, there's not very many musicians that are instantly associated with a particular instrument necessarily. But there is absolutely no doubt that if you look at some of Rory Gallagher's video performances, this is ever present. It's battered and it's bruised, but that's because it was used. Barry Sweeney's committee member of the Rory Gallagher Tribute Festival. Good morning, Barry.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm great, Barry. Lovely to chat to you again. Yeah, so this is a very significant piece of equipment that's incredibly associated with Rory Gallagher. Rory Gallagher, of course, very much associated with Ballyshannon. And the fear was that this guitar would go into private ownership to leave the country. Has there been any developments? Well, there have, of course, or I wouldn't be speaking to you, that's given us some hope that maybe it'll find a new home.
Well, as you know, it's a very, very special instrument. It's more than an instrument; it's a symbol, and there has been campaigns, high-profile campaigns throughout the country for it to be kept within Ireland and to be kept in different parts of Ireland and all that. But as you may know, or your listeners may know, it's going up for auction now on Thursday, a couple of days' time, and there has been I suppose you call it a fear or a real fear of disappointment that this symbol will leave the shores.
What happens
and be
dependent on who buys it? It can disappear. So whilst we know where it is now, it simply can disappear because it can go into some rock star's private collection and can be in a room of their house, never to be seen again. So it's not, no harm might come to it, but it's lost its historical sort of relevance is lost to the public there. So what has the Tánaiste Micheál Martin suggested?
Well, look, I first of all, I'll start off by saying I've no insight. I don't know really what's happening in the background here, but there's something happening, and I know, there has been a lot of communication. I know Micheál Martin has spoken about this, and in the past on a visit to Cork, and look at. The ask is that this instrument will be left in Ireland, would be sort of acquired by either the state or by some of the cultural institutions within the state, and kept for everybody to share. As in everybody to see. Perhaps that it would go out and loan. And my hope would be that it would be kept in a safe and secure place, because it can't just go anywhere. National Museum could be an option for it. And that it could be organised to go on to around the country at different stages over the coming years, and I'd include Ballyshannon in that, because as you know, they work.
Yeah, I was going to say Coconians would have some sort of a claim on it as well, right? It'll probably be ended up if we did screw it based in Dublin. But that being said, there are times where we have items that can go visiting, so there's no reason why it couldn't spend a time of the year in Ballyshannon or somewhere in Cork, and then maybe live the rest of its life more centrally in Dublin.
Yeah, I think so, and I'd add Belfast in there as well, because one of the reasons, and I wrote to the Taoiseach myself on this to see what he could consider doing, but I think Rory's also synonymous with Belfast and with the Ulster Hall gigs, during the troubled times when people, did not go up and play music in Belfast but Rory was one of these guys who did all that, and he was so highly respected across the board, across religious divides and everything, and he's continually respected for that reason. And he brought people together through music. So I would see this guitar as a symbol of peace as well, and how music and the arts can break down a lot of these barriers, can bring people together no matter where they're from. And so as a kind of a cultural symbol, but also a symbol of peace, and it's rock memorabilia. It's something that we can't lose. And when you see an artist like Joe Bonamassa, who was in Ireland last week, come out and say, no, this guitar just has to stay in Ireland. Mm-hmm. He himself is a guitar collector. He's got over 700 guitars. He is probably the best, or one of the best guitarists living in the world at the moment, and he was highly influenced by Rory Gallagher. He has said that this guitar really needs it because it's just right. He said it's just
Barry,
right.
Listen, brilliant to chat to you. Thanks so much for that. Let's hope if that's what the people want, that's what they get. Barry Sweeney, committee member of the Rory Gallagher Tribute Festival, and is it a steal? Probably what, 2 or 3 bike sheds might pay for it. £700,000 to £1 million is the estimated price. Do you believe that this would be money well spent by the state if they were to secure it through, one of the culture institutions or what have you? Eventually, you could trace the money back to your pocket. So £700,000 to £1 million. Would you like to see that spent on this guitar to retain it in Ireland? Let us know. 08660 25,000. Also still keen to hear who you would like to be the Donegal Person of the Year for 2024 and why. All of that to 08660 25,000. The very latest appeals and information first here on Highland Radio, coming up after the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Irwin Expert Electrical Christmas Club is now open, so why not get ahead of the game and save yourself some stress this holiday season? Secure the most wanted gifts from iPads, phones, TVs, gaming monitors, smartwatches and Dyson and Shark hair care with just a small deposit and then pay at your own pace. Don't wait until last minute. Call in and let us help make Christmas a breeze at Irwin Expert Electrical, Letterkenny and Buncrana.
It's all about colour trend until October 19th at Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny. Call in-store to see what's on offer. Plus, Foy's have free in-store paint colour consultations every day until then to help you choose the right paint for your home. And if you spend over €70 on colour trend paint, you'll be in with a chance of winning a €100 Foy's voucher. Don't miss out on this big colour trend event every day until 19th of October, only at Foy's in Ballybuffet and Letterkenny.
Shannon Airport knows precisely what suits a suitcase nicely, so find out concisely at shannonairport.ie.
Affordable parking, easy access, seamless security and dream holiday destinations like Lanzarote, Paris and New York for a hassle-free airport experience for you and your suitcase. Start your dream holiday at shannonairport.ie.
Your specialty is quality tiles, bathroom suites and wooden floors. Who is the best range of tiles in Donegal?
Crawford Tiles.
The best wood flooring?
Crawford Tiles.
The best bathroom suites?
Crawford Tiles.
5-day bathroom refits?
Crawford Tiles.
And who's been tampering with my questions?
That'd be me.
Crawford Tiles, Castlefin. That'd be them. 07491 43942.
Be first to drive the all-new Nissan Qashqai. Join us at iMotors for our 251 sales event from October 17th to the 20th. Pre-order with us and be in with a chance to win €10,000 cash, as one lucky customer will win this amazing prize.
Join me, Greg Hughes, this Wednesday as we broadcast the 9 till noon show live from the Radisson Hotel for a special health and wellbeing event being hosted by the Letterkenny Community Health Forum. The event is to raise awareness of the statutory and community services available in the area for the public, no matter what their age. There'll be information stands, some health checks and 4 great talks throughout the day starting at 11 a.m. So come along to the Radisson Hotel this Wednesday or tune in to the 9 till noon show live from 9 a.m.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, I'm Michaela Clark with the news at 10 o'clock. The Taoiseach is calling on the Sinn Féin leader to use the Dáil today to lay everything out on the table about Brian Stanley's resignation from the party. Members of the Public Accounts Committee say they will not cooperate with the new Sinn Féin chair until party controversies are addressed. Committee members say they won't cooperate until Sinn Féin leader Mary Lou McDonald provides further details on an inquiry into a complaint made against the Laois Offaly TD. Taoiseach Simon Harris says Mary Lou McDonald should take today to give all the facts to the public.
We shouldn't need to have a kind of drip feed of information. I've consistently said I believe the leader of Sinn Féin, my political difference aside, to be a decent person. And today is an opportunity to put all the information out on the table for once and for all.
A man has been arrested in Derry today under the Terrorism Act. Detectives from the North West Criminal Investigation Branch conducted a search and arrest operation in the city this morning. The 43-year-old man has been taken to Musgrave Serious Crime Suite for questioning. Hundreds of hospitality workers will protest outside the Dáil later, saying their industry is broken and in crisis. They say hundreds of businesses are closing because of financial pressures caused by the higher VAT rate and increased minimum wage and sick pay. 700 food businesses have closed over the past year. Taoiseach Micheál Martin agrees that there are numerous concerns.
I understand that the challenges faced with the hospitality sector and indeed small business more generally. Not all small businesses, but certainly in retail and hospitality, are feeling the pressures, particularly because of increased costs across a range of areas. And I think government has to look at the cost base of hospitality, the rapid rise in minimum wage and so on in the last 2 years.
The 100% Redress Party has selected Charles Ward as their general election candidate. A native of Armore Island, now living in Drumkeen, Mr Ward is a defective block homeowner. He says as well as the defective block crisis being high on his agenda, other challenges that face the people of Donegal will be a priority for him, including a worsening housing crisis, mental health concerns, gaps in education and struggles with ageing infrastructure. Mr Ward says the pressures facing healthcare workers is something he witnesses firsthand.
I'm a healthcare assistant. I can see that the healthcare system currently is on its knees and we need help and support. Donegal is a forgotten county and we need all the workers, all the healthcare workers, nurses to get behind us and help the 100% Redress Party get elected so that they have a voice too.
The OPW and the Court Service are being urged to explore how they can help to improve the cultural quarter in Letterkenny. Councillor Kieran Brogan believes the area around Angrennan Theatre, the Regional Cultural Centre, the Tennis Club and the Courthouse can be more open and available to the general public. He says that, however, will require gates being left open and more lighting around the courthouse. Councillor Brogan wants a conversation to begin now.
The new courthouse is a fabulous building. It's a massive civic building, and I think so much is tucked away and it's hidden there, and I believe that if the council was to engage with the court service and the OPW maybe to see how we could open up the access around that whole development and improve some of the access around it as well. But I think the more engagement we can have locally to try and improve that area, improve the simple things like the lighting and maybe some of the signage as well, could make a huge difference.
Efforts are underway to enhance Dunloo and surrounding areas for locals and visitors. A master plan for the area sets out a roadmap for the development of the West Donegal village over the next 6 years, considering the landscape, the natural and built environment, cultural heritage and language. Efforts are also being made to address the challenges around parking at Errigal Mountain. Josephine Kelly, Project Officer, Cargina Harrigal, hopes the master plan can help keep people in the area for longer.
We're surrounded by a beautiful landscape that has huge potential and huge opportunities. And it's just a matter of looking at how we can give sustainable access to those areas and create kind of a package of products that we can encourage people to come and to stay and to spend money there.
Weather now this morning will be mostly cloudy with patches of mist and drizzle. During the afternoon and evening, outbreaks of rain will develop, turning heavy at times. Highest temperatures of 14 or 15 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with an update again at 11 o'clock. Until then, you can keep up to date with the latest local news on our website, highlandradio.com. Good morning. The obituary notice says for this Tuesday morning, October the 15th. The death has occurred of Susan Worski, Baltony, Gorta Hork. Wake today from 12 noon with Rosary both nights at 8 o'clock. House private after Rosary until 12 noon and on the morning of the funeral. Funeral from there on Thursday morning for 11 o'clock Requiem Mass in Christ the King Church, Gorta Hork, with burial afterwards in the adjacent cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on mcnlive.tv. The death has occurred of Alice Dugan, formerly of Belcritch, Gortna said, Kincashla. Alice's remains are reposing at her home in Kincashla today from 11 o'clock to 8 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Mary's Church, Kincashla, with interment afterwards in Belcritch Cemetery. House private plays before the funeral tomorrow morning. Family flowers only. And the death has occurred of Joe McGrorty, 3 Kirkpatrick Avenue, Letterkenny. Remains are reposing at his late residence today from 12 noon until 9 o'clock. Rosary tonight at 9 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning at 11 o'clock in St Junan's Cathedral, Letterkenny, with burial afterwards in Comwall Cemetery. Funeral Mass can be viewed live on churchservices.tv. House private before the funeral tomorrow morning, please. Family flowers only. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio. Do you need to get smart with your spending so you can do more with your money? Sounds like a lot of work. Not with An Post Money Manager, the smart budgeting app that does the work for you. Securely link all your current accounts and credit cards and see all your spending in one place. What if I'm running low on cash? You'll get a heads up with spending and budget alerts. Sounds expensive. Not at all. It's free to use whoever you bank with. Say no more. I'm going to download the app now. Make your money matter more. Search An Post Money Manager. Money Manager is provided by An Post in conjunction with Tink. Tink is a payment institution authorised by the Swedish Financial Supervisory Authority to provide account information services.
Cutting through the spin. The 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
Okay, coming up after the break, we have Community Garda information, but just to take us there, a couple of follow-ups on some items and stories we carried throughout the week. Yesterday, we were speaking to a lovely lady who was living in the same house for 53 years and got a letter yesterday morning from Donegal County Council to tell them they were being removed from the electoral register. The letter said the voting card was returned with unknown at this address from the local elections. In the last council elections, the caller didn't get a polling card but was able to vote because they were on the register. And it wasn't just... I think it was Breed. It wasn't just her. It was also 2 other people in the house were told they would be taken off the register, and you had to go online, download a form, fill out the form, send it back to remain on the register. But the council were back to us and said you can advise your listener to contact our franchise officer directly on 9153900, and they'll gladly assist them. So it probably shouldn't have happened in the first instance, but the council seem to be advising that they'll be able to rectify that over the phone, which means that Our Lady does not have to go through all the rigmarole. We were also contacted by another listener who is from Donegal, is here, and tried to go to the tourist office in Letterkenny to get some information from friends, full friends that were visiting. And they went to the tourist office in Letterkenny and discovered it's closed. And there was a sign on the door saying closed till June 2025. This is in Letterkenny, the biggest populace in Donegal. Now, Donegal Town has a all year round tourism office. So we contacted Tourism Ireland, Fulcher Ireland actually it was, to find out what's going on here. Why are we not even open on the shoulders of the tourism season? But it goes to read, the response reads as follows from Fulcher Ireland. Fulcher Ireland reviewed how it provides tourist information nationwide, both online and in person. To respond to changing consumer behaviour, digital trends and declining footfall in tourist information offices, this review identified an opportunity to adapt to evolving visitor behaviour and enhancing our overall strategy for engaging with visitors. Increasingly, visitors rely on digital devices and conveniently accessible information. While guidebooks and tourist offices were once the primary source for information, visitors today expect quick, convenient and comprehensive access to information. This trend has impacted the demand for traditional tourist information offices. 83% of visitors to the Letterkenny Tourism Information Centre are international, with the majority visiting during the peak summer months, that's June to September. The Letterkenny office has been operating seasonally since 2022. It is one of 15 offices we now operate on a seasonal basis alongside locations such as Westport, Sligo, Limerick and Waterford. To align with changes in visitor information preferences, Fulcher Ireland has it's invested in kiosks at high-profile locations, created a new Letterkenny town map and a Donegal regional map distributed free of charge throughout the county. Enhanced Letterkenny. Yes, but the problem is, as you see, what this caller also went into hotels and that information wasn't there. And on it goes. They've done a lot of work, they say, to sort of reach people in different ways. Bottom line is though, the 15% of visitors to the Letterkenny tourist office, it's actually not 15%, sorry. Anyone visiting the tourism office in Letterkenny outside of the peak will be met with a shut door. And that's just the way it is. And maybe that's just the way things are going. Just to let you know that we are outside tomorrow. We are broadcasting live from the Radisson Hotel in Letterkenny. The Letterkenny Community Health Forum are hosting a health and wellbeing event in the Radisson Hotel. It runs from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. We're going to be there from 9 till 12. The event is to raise awareness of the statutory and community services available in the area for the public, no matter what their age. There's going to be a number of talks on the day as well on smoking cessation, alcohol, mental health. Lots of resources there, lots of people there. So go on down to the Radisson Hotel and say hello to us as well if you do turn up. Services in the Letterkenny area will have information stands on the day. Some health checks will also be taking place. And as I mentioned, 4 talks throughout the day on 4 different issues. Short, sharp, to the point, should be entertaining. It's in a beautiful location, of course, the Radisson Hotel in Letterkenny. It's set up beautiful for events like that. Great parking and all that type of stuff. So come along, say hello, sample some of the events that are taking place there. Now, we have a little thing on the radio. It's called Radio Bingo. It's the Vision Island Radio Bingo. And what it does is it gives you an opportunity when you can afford it and for fun to win some really good money. But it also supports Vision Ireland, formerly the National Council for the Blind of Ireland. And it's one of the key fundraisers for those services in this county. And we never know, and we hope it will never happen to us, but we never know, and we will need to make that call to Vision Ireland to get some assistance on adapting to reduce sight or sight loss. So that's why we do it. It's a lot of fun. It's not a club. You can enter and play at any time. The books are widely available. You can get a single book for €5, and if you buy 2, you get them for €10. So that's exactly the same price for a double book. They're for sale at outlets selling Vision Ireland bingo books throughout the Northwest. They're widely available, often on the counter. You can get them from us here at Highland Radio or online from the outlet at highlandradio.com. And as I say, you can buy a book and play next week and never play again, but a sizable proportion of the purchase price goes to supporting Vision Ireland. But people win big money all the time, and I love mentioning it because it kind of goes under the radar a little bit unless you're playing bingo. Because there are daily prizes and jackpot prizes and rollovers and all this type of stuff. And the money is great. You know, I know a lot of people go to physical bingo and get quite excited about winning 30. Well, look at the money that we're giving away here. The Maple in Milford, they sold a book that won €1,600. Boyce's in Carragart, a local there, picked up €1,200. Harkins in Rafo, an €800 book was sold there. Solo in Letterkenny, a €600 book sold there. And Cost Cutters Go to Hawk, €400. Not bad, is it? And also there's obviously, we had a recent massive jackpot winner as well. All local people playing local bingo and supporting local Vision Ireland services. Where would you get it? Right, where would you get Community Garda information, where you get the latest appeals and information first? Well, you get it here in Highland Radio. It's coming up with Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh after this break.
The county's #1 talk show, the 9 till noon show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Tuesday, the 15th of October. You're playing on the brown sheet. The reference number is S7. It's game number 42. The numbers are 28, 64, 18, 22, 6, 84, 46, 35, 57, and finally 44. Phone your claim to 91048333 before 8 tonight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland bingo information at highlandradio.com.
Connect Hearing is open for free hearing tests. Our audiologist is available Monday to Friday for wax removal services at our Letterkenny clinic in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. We also offer a home visit for those who aren't able to visit us. Our hearing is our social sense. Are you finding hearing more of a challenge? Call Ursula today on 07491 13296 to make an appointment. Good hearing helps us to connect to our family, friends and loved ones. Connect Hearing, connecting you to life.
Go full Lidl for super savings on board Be Approved Super Savers. Sort dinner with succulent pork loin chops, were $6.79, now $5.49. Fry up flat mushrooms on the side, 50% off, now 49¢. Or maybe a tasty turnip is more your thing, also 49¢. Go on, shop without compromise. Go full Lidl today.
It's the return of Europe's largest Halloween festival, Derry Halloween. Over 4 days and nights, experience a dazzling street celebration. From the 28th to the 31st of October, join us for the Awakening the Walled City Trail, with free events, carnival parade, fireworks and lots more. Visit derryhalloween.com. Supported by Tourism NI and the Executive Office.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie. The Community Garda information slot is brought to you by Sheridan Security Systems, protecting what you value most. Call today and get your zero-wire alarm system from €299. Sheridan Security, 91-26025.
And that means at 17 minutes past 10 on this Tuesday, the 15th of October 24, it's time for the latest instalment of Community Garda information. And back in studio with us, Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh from the Letterkenny Garda Station. Ewan, thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Morning, Greg. Thank you for having me.
You had a good weekend, of course, as St. Ewan supporter.
Yeah, club
You're
member.
Pleased with that result?
Happy enough, yeah.
Happy enough.
Happy enough. Okay. Big day for the club.
On to Ulster now.
On to Ulster now in 3 weeks against the Tyrone champions. So that final's next Sunday, I think. So just wait and see what happens. But
brilliant stuff. It's nice to get the wee lift, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Right, okay, on to more serious matters. And it's time for us, later on in the programme, we'll get, in this item, we'll get some advice and answer some questions. But first, let's get to some appeals. And Gardaí, looking for some information from the public in relation to a road traffic collision in Drumkeen.
Yes, Greg, this is a collision which occurred at Ochigald Big Drumkeen Sunday night, Monday morning past there, the 14th of November, at approximately 5:30 a.m. It was a single vehicle collision, and the driver sustained serious but fortunately non-life-threatening injuries. The vehicle involved had been travelling from Convoy towards Letterkenny at the time of the collision, so it's a back road there adjacent to the old petrol station that you see on the main road. So we're feeling for anybody who may have witnessed the collision to contact the Gardaí Letterkenny 07491 67100. If anybody was on the route around the time and they have dash cam footage, we ask them to make the footage available to us, please.
In Peel now in relation to an assault in Letterkenny.
Yes, we're investigating an assault which occurred last Friday evening, the 11th of October. It occurred at the main street, Letterkenny, across from the Market Square at approximately 5:25 p.m. A young male in his late teens, we believe, was assaulted at the location by another male who was not known to the injured party. So the person involved sustained non-life-threatening injuries. And again, we appeal to anybody who may observe the incident to make contact with the Gardaí in Letterkenny. And again, we're confident that due to the time frame, a busy Friday evening, that somebody may have witnessed the assault, and we're asking them to come forward and contact us at Letterkenny Garda Station 07491 67100, please.
Yeah, no doubt, as you say, busy at that time of day. It's in broad daylight. People saw it. It's just a case of them listening to this and getting in touch with Gardaí. Talking now about the theft of a car in South Inishowen.
Yes, this is the theft of a blue Citroen dispatch van, a long wheelbase van, from Ilabeg Business Park in Bridgend last Thursday evening, the 10th of October, Greg, between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. So that's last Thursday evening. Work was being carried out on the van, and as a result, the engine had been removed from the van. No registration plates were attached to the van, and we believe that the van was towed away by a truck in the Derry direction. So again, that's last Thursday evening, the 10th of October, between 9:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. So we're appealed to anybody who may have observed a flatbed type truck in the area before the theft or afterwards, when the van was being towed away, to make contact with the Gardaí at 074 9320540. Again, anxious to speak to anybody who may have been in the area and who has dash cam on their vehicles. So again, the confidential line may also be contacted at 1800 666 111. Again, a short time frame there, Greg, 1 hour. Last Thursday, the 10th of October, 9:30 p.m. 10:30 p.m. in Bridgend.
Yeah, and a long wheelbase blue Citroen dispatch van from the Bridgend area. It's going to stick out a little bit, isn't it? And it had no engine and no number plates, which makes it really quite unusual.
It does, yes, but we're confident that we'll be able to solve this one due to the fact that the vehicle was towed away, and maybe somebody in the area saw something, or we'll have dash cam and make it available to us.
So get that information to An Garda Síochána, because that's somebody's stuff, as all of this when it comes to thefts are. Going towards criminal damage now, quite a number of cases. We'll start in Dunlow, will we?
Yes, last week, Greg, in Dunlow, last Tuesday, this day week, between 7 a.m. and 8:30 a.m. in the area of Coshlocha, Dunlow, damage was caused to a front wheel panel of a car that was parked at the house in the area between these times. It would appear to have been struck by an object of some description, and again, we're appealing for residents in the area or anybody who has any information or heard or saw anything to contact the Gardaí in Milford, and again, anybody with dash cam to make it available to the Gardaí at Milford 07491 53060.
Yeah, and at that time of the morning, if you saw it, it's going to stand out like a sore thumb.
Yes,
it's just a case to get that info to the Gardaí. Let's go back to Bridgend now for criminal damage.
Yes, criminal damage incident, Greg, in Bunamain, Bridgend, last Wednesday, between 7:30 p.m. last Wednesday the 9th and Thursday morning the 10th at 7 a.m. So sometime on the Wednesday evening, Thursday morning, a car was parked at an address in the area, and the car was spray painted, as was the wall of the premises. And again, if anybody observed any suspicious activity in that area between these times, or if they can assist with any relevant information, we ask them to contact Gardaí at Buncrana 074 93
Now, criminal damage being investigated in the Newtown Cunningham area.
Yes, this is a criminal damage incident at Castle Park, Newtown Cunningham, Greg, last Sunday, the 13th. in a 2-hour period, we believe, between 8:30 p.m. and 10:30 p.m. A van was parked in the driveway of a private house, and van was spray painted between these times. So that's Castle Park, Newton, Cunningham last Sunday. And if anybody observed any suspicious activity in the area, or if they can offer any relevant information, again, Letterkenny Garda Station, 07491 67100.
I know these are outside your district, so to speak, but I mean, are people spray painting messages? Is it? Do we know? Or
No,
is
it doesn't seem to be a message. Just badness or some sort of damage.
Okay, strange one, very strange. And last criminal damage appeal focuses on Carndonagh.
Yes, this is Sunday evening past, or Saturday night, Sunday morning, the 12th of October. Sorry, Friday night, Saturday morning, 1:25 a.m. Two youths in the area of the Diamond, Carndonagh, they removed a bin from a business premises and they set it alight and they pushed it in the direction of the road. Fortunately, no major damage was caused to any other property or persons. The people involved had their faces covered, so we appeal to anybody who may have been in the area at the time or who has dashcam to make it available to Gardaí Buncrana 074 93 205 40.
I mean, stupid, reckless behaviour, but pushing a burning bin towards the road. I presume it's one of those skip bins on wheels as well. I mean, that's crazy, isn't it? All right. Any information on that, of course, get it to An Garda Síochána. Okay. Halloween fast approaching. It's a nightmare time for some. It's a fantastic fun time, and it can be for everyone. But
you think it's Halloween, you're either one or the other.
Exactly.
What are you?
I love it.
Yeah.
Why not? Anything that the children enjoy, or Aisling seems to love it as well.
Good.
The house is like for bloody home storing more at the moment.
You getting your scary face out.
Listen, I don't want to say too much because there's a couple of puns in here and I don't want to ruin them. So I'm careful what I'm saying. But anyway, yes, Halloween fast approaching, Ewan.
Yeah, look, it's Greg, and it can be, as we say, a fun time of year for some people, but unfortunately for others, it's the stuff of nightmares, particularly because of the poor behaviour of a very few, I have to say. And we're talking about fireworks here. Again, for many people, young people, are exciting and inspiring. For others, the elderly, people with animals, very frightening and a very horrible time of year for some people. And fireworks and associated noise can cause great distress to older people and vulnerable people within our communities. And again, anybody who has a pet, particularly dogs don't like fireworks and they tend to run away from our homes because of it. And I've also saw an article there last night I was reading about guide dogs. They are trained to deal with a lot of stress, but unfortunately fireworks isn't one of them. Yeah. And after the stress of fireworks, many guide dogs have to be retrained, actually.
That's really important here. I don't think anyone would knowingly want to do that. And let's not forget, dogs have hearing 4 times more sensitive than humans. Yes, and I don't think anyone would want to be causing the retraining of a guide dog, which means the person that it serves would be, without it until such time as that was concluded. Fireworks is a funny thing because obviously they're an absolute nuisance for older people, for people in certain communities as well. But they are also very dangerous, and it's also highly illegal to have them, Ewan.
Yes, very severe penalties, actually, Greg, for the possession of fireworks. It's an offence, obviously, to ignite a illegal firework, to throw an ignited firework at a person or property, or again, having possession of illegal fireworks for sale or supply to other persons. The penalties and fines actually are up to €10,000 and a maximum imprisonment of 5 years. So again, we're urging anybody who is thinking about buying or using fireworks to have a rethink. So many horrific life-injuring injuries are sustained at Halloween and during the run-up to it every year. We urge the public not to put unnecessary pressure on our very busy emergency services this Halloween by using up vital resources and filling up the A&E department with preventable injuries caused by illegal fireworks. Again, should anybody come across fireworks for sale or supply or any antisocial or illegal behaviour interrupt the Halloween, we ask them to please alert us immediately and contact your local Garda station.
Yeah, and they're available on a 24/7 hour basis in Letterkenny, 9167100, Milford 9153060, Buncrana 9320540, and Ballyshannon 9858530. And there's a couple of numbers you should have beside the phone, although that sounds very old-fashioned because no one has a phone to put numbers beside. Stuck on the fridge or whatever, your air code, your local 24/7 Garda station, that type of stuff, because you never know. And what we
that's
want...
important now, just air codes, because we all now have mobility devices, what we call, but basically they're mobile phones. and we have the facility to put an air code into
Mm.
the mobility device to get us to the person's location, maybe quicker than
100%.
otherwise.
And I've struggled sometimes. F92XV,
Yeah.
write it down, because you never. And it's the only time you'll need it is when the time you're least likely to remember. It's the time you're under pressure and might actually.
Yeah,
need it.
that's exactly it. So I have my air code saved into my phone, air code home. I have my father's air code dad, and a station, air code station.
Yeah,
So-
it's very good, and they can go in as contacts in phones as well. It's very easy to do. Right. Also, listen, everyone wants everyone to have lots and lots of fun.
Yes, enjoy yourself. It is a time, as you say, particularly for the young people. Getting dressed up, the knick-knacking or whatever you call it that you'd have done in your day. Did you? Were you the head in the basin man? Were you?
It's a long time ago. But yes, I did do that. I did stick my head in the
apple
basin.
swinging from the door.
Yeah, I did that as well
don't
too.
think the young people
Wow,
listening
you're
probably
actually
don't know what we're talking about,
You're
do they?
really bringing back memories. I forgot about the apple.
Yeah.
Did you have to tie your hands behind your back? Or
Yeah,
something?
that was it,
Oh,
yeah.
not tie them behind your back.
Hold it behind your
my
back,
upbringing wasn't that bad.
And my favourite was the ring in the barn brack.
I never saw the sense in that.
Yeah.
Busting your teeth on it.
You're not supposed to eat the ring. You're supposed to.
Oh, right. Okay. Sorry. Again, that's my upbringing. Right. Okay. Some information about a community policing unit event.
Yes, the Gardaí Community Police Unit in Macrana are actually today in the Greencastle Community Centre between 11 and 12. So if you're listening, please call in if you need advice, information, or get some forms signed, stamped, or even just for a chat.
And what does that mean? Is it really just to drop in if you have any concerns?
Any concerns,
or
maybe
need
something,
some reassurance?
reassurance, something that's happened in your community, advice on road traffic matters, rules of the road, things like that.
Yeah, okay. Right, let us get to some questions, if you don't mind. And I don't know what the motivation for this is, but a caller wants to know, is a cyclist supposed to have a bell on a bike?
Yes, the legislation states that you must have a bell which can be heard from a reasonable distance. Again, I was thinking it and you said it, but there are other things that we prefer to see on bikes in relation to high vis and stuff like that, but they're not covered by legislation, and the bell one is.
Isn't that an interesting
It is.
situation that you're not obliged to wear a high vis on a bike, but you are obliged to have a bell?
Yes.
Okay. Would anyone know what rights homeowners have when a farmer ploughs through his field and leaves the road completely covered in muck? Where we live, our drive is saturated with muck being dragged down from the mess a farmer has left on the road while spreading slurry. It's getting carried into our home. Now, in fairness to the farming community, I've seen this as well too. If there's a new build on the side of a road,
Yes.
very quickly you see
Yes,
not
yes.
just a dusting, but big clumps of mud. And I suppose the question from the listener is who's responsible? What's the situation?
Well, when I read it first, I looked at it. The person mentioned their driveway. So that's the drive. If it's a driveway, that's private property.
Yeah.
So the advice maybe I'd give is maybe to engage with the person. Maybe they don't know that they're doing this, and maybe they're ignorant of it. Maybe engage, and if that doesn't work, contact a solicitor. If the matter relates to a public road, then you should contact Donegal County Council.
Yeah, and that makes sense. And then chase it up because it's a civil matter,
It
really.
is.
It's not that you're saying. It's not. It's quite literally a civil matter, which is not a criminal matter for Garda Síochána at this point too. Okay, listen, thank you very much as always, Ewan. I really
Right,
appreciate
thank
it.
you.
It's okay.
Talk to you
That's
soon.
talk to you soon. Garda Sergeant Ewan Walsh from the Letterkenny Garda Station. That was Community Garda information for this Tuesday, the 15th of October. You'll be able to listen back to it on our podcast live on our website at about 1:15. But we also, of course, give you the opportunity to watch it back on our socials, and it'll also be up there on the Garda Síochána social Facebook page. All right, back after these.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Because your no claims bonus matters to you, it matters to us. That's why all AXA car insurance policies include accident forgiveness as standard. So you'll never lose all of your no claims bonus if you have an accident or a claim is made against you. Get a quote today at axa.ie. AXA. Know you can. Policy terms and conditions apply. Accident forgiveness is step back. No claims discount protection for customers with 4 or more years. No claims discount. AXA Insurance DAC is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Testing. Do you need to get your hearing tested? Test your hearing with a free sample hearing aid from Hidden Hearing. Order your free sample hearing aid today. Call 1-800-370-000 or visit hiddenhearing.ie.
You join us for the world final Chip Sizzle Freestyle Contest, and the team from Charlie's Chips are in the lead. What a team, look at them go. They're coming up to the finishing pan, and once again, Charlie's Chips are the winners. Served with mouth-watering burgers, fresh battered fish, or delicious chicken. And there's a great selection of gluten-free options now also on the menu. All available to take away or sit in Tuesday to Saturday from 12 to 8. When the hunger hits, pull into Charlie's on Pierce Road, Letterkenny.
We love better value at Dunnes Stores. Toast to savings with a range of big brand wines like Dada Malbec and Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc, now €10 or less. Start your day right with Flavin's Quick Oats 500 gram, now half price. And do laundry for less with Ariel, Fairy and Bold detergent pods, 51 wash packs, just €11 each. Plus, you can save at the till with a 5 off 25 grocery voucher. Dunnes Stores, always better value. Terms and conditions apply. Voucher can be used on next in-store grocery shop of €25 or more. Voucher excludes alcohol. Please drink sensibly.
Climate change is something we're all living with, and we can all take climate action. Right now, across the country, communities are doing just that. Whether it's reducing energy use at home, planting trees, taking the bus, or harnessing solar power in rural towns and villages. The more of us who get involved, the more we can achieve, because climate actions work. For information and resources, go to gov.ie/climate actions work. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Okay, the advert ran out on me there whilst we were discussing our OB for tomorrow. Okay, I'll get to some of your comments now. Actually, on a more light-hearted note, we were asking you to identify who would like to be or who would you like to see as a Donegal Person of the Year and why. Some of your suggestions: Conall Shovlin, Ardra, he'd be a wonderful person for Donegal Person of the Year. Surprised he hasn't received it long ago. Great ambassador for County Donegal and beyond. Another, Highland Radio's own Sinead Black. She's a great ambassador for Donegal, entertaining audiences as well as being a successful businesswoman. She's an inspiration, role model for young Donegal women. Donegal Person of the Year, Paddy Diver. Not only has he done a lot for Donegal people, but for people all over Ireland. Another one for Paddy Diver for Donegal Person of the Year. Hands down, says this listener. Robert O'Connor, retired founder of Relay for Life Donegal. Robert, of course, put so much into those endeavours and others as well. Lovely suggestion. Paddy Diver again. Micah Paddy for his headstrong and fighting on a lot of Donegal people's behalf. John McElhinney should be Donegal Person of the Year. An amazing businessman. Another, surely Father Sean Doherty should be a candidate for his service to local broadcasting and his vocation in saving souls. Father John Joe from Creasla. I think Father John Joe would have been a lot of people's nomination, but I just don't think, and I could be wrong, and I probably even shouldn't say this, I don't think that's for Father John Joe. I don't think that's what he'd be up for, but I don't know. But who would be better? Not many. I would like to see Father John Joe Duffy to be Person of the Year. During the Creasla disaster, he gave hope, sympathy, prayers, etc. He was a true leader. Words can't express the comfort he gave. We have a fabulous woman in Donegal. I'd like to see the likes of Chief Superintendent Gretty Sheridan, a good Donegal woman, nominated. And on it goes. It's only for a bit of fun. Of course, we want you to furnish your nominations, not to us. We're doing it for fun, but to the Donegal Association Dublin, where they actually will carry weight. We just threw the lines open here for a bit of crack. And if you want to get your suggestions going, then please do. 08660 25,000. Who would you like to see as 24 Person of the Year and why? Right. Rebecca McDade is a founder of A Parent's Right, and she's in studio with me now. She was recently guest speaker at a meeting in Letterkenny regarding the SPHE curriculum. Okay, so did your concerns start with the Mary Creedon video, or had you concerns before that, Rebecca? And what are your concerns?
Well, Greg, I'm
Good
a
morning
part
to
of.
you, by the way.
Good morning, Greg. I started a group called A Parent's Right. There was 3 of us, and we did that in 2019, and we did it because we were given information about the World Health Organization document, which is a sex education standards for sexual education in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
So there were concerns in that group, in that book, where it gave explicit information from 0 to 4 and all the way age group,
which was never adapted
all
here.
The way up.
It was circulated by the WHO. I remember some of the. We won't go into the graphic description, what have you, but it was never adapted here. It was a WHO document.
Unfortunately, Greg, it's not the truth.
Okay, what is the truth?
Because they have adapted a lot of the information that's in there
Mhm.
and through the curriculum.
Now, I just want to say to listeners at this stage, because this the subject matter of that we're talking about now, and because it's so important, and we all have an interest in what's right for our children, we are going to have to use grown-up words. So just to be conscious of that, maybe maybe adults might not necessarily want to hear it, but you might not want your children to hear it, which would be whole counterintuitive if we started saying stuff you didn't want your children to hear at school. But we're going to have a grown-up conversation about this, or else it's just going to be a nightmare to pussyfoot around it. Okay, and I want to be conscious when we talk about certain things that were specific as to what age groups we're talking about, right? So we did then start, and everything you're saying, is an absolute fact that's being taught in schools, right?
All of the proof is here in front of me.
No, but it's not just documents that you pulled from the internet. It's being taught in schools.
No.
So you've heard from...
So the certain things that I'm going to talk about today is what I know is in the books in number 1 in Donegal.
Yes.
And the other one is, this is the very important information actually. And there's so much information out there. So what I wanted to start with was the WHO document because of the content that's in there. Mm. And when we come from there...
Of course, but the very important part of this program, right, for me, is that we don't sort of be fearful that we talk about what's factual or stuff that we can prevent, right? So I know some of the stuff in the WHO document is horrific, right, in terms of teaching certain things to very young kids.
Yeah.
But that's not the Irish curriculum, or some of it could be. So to be very clear, what is actually being taught to our children here, not some sort of wider... Yeah. If that's okay, Rebecca.
Well, I want to start off with what is in... this book, so we're talking about secondary school.
Okay.
Okay. And
so is this 12, 13, 14?
So you're talking about this particular book is 2, so that is for second years.
Okay.
So this one is called You've Got This.
Mm-hmm.
And the authors there is Genevieve Cooney and Denise Dalton. Now, in all of my research here that I have been doing, I have realised that there are so many different SPHE books out there.
Mm-hmm.
So there's actually, for year 1, which is the first year of the junior cert, there's 10 different books for the teachers to choose from.
So that's 13 to 14-year-olds?
Yes.
Okay.
And it's the
Obviously
same.
Some children are younger.
It's the same in year 2.
Yes.
So for second years. And I've seen 9 for year 3.
So the teachers themselves select the book?
So it's my understanding that the teachers and the schools, they select what books they want to use.
Out of the 10 that's available.
Out of 10 that's available.
But these are all officially available from the Department of Education?
Yes.
Okay.
And they're
produce 10
printed,
books.
and there's 10 books, whereas that doesn't happen, Greg, in any other subject in school. You'll not get 10 different varieties of a history book or a geography book or a maths book. So why is there so many for SPHE?
Mm-hmm.
That's number 1. Okay, and I actually have pictures of all of them that's available there that I have.
Look at them there,
You can, of course.
Yep. Carry on, yeah.
So the other thing is in that particular book, and yes, I have to tell you exactly what's in it because that's what's in the book in one of the schools that I know of, and they talk about sex. They talk about teaching the children anal sex. So they talk about the different definitions for anal sex, for oral sex. And look, to 13-year-olds, in my opinion, they don't have my personal permission because my daughter is 13 years of age.
Okay. Now, just in relation to that, our parents asked whether or not they want their children to be taught this. Is there a consent form for parents?
In the primary schools, usually the letters are sent out, or a message will be sent out on whatever media they have in regards to whether it's Aladdin or whatever. So that would go into the group, and you'll get your information through there. Now, what's given is a link, but there is so much information out there, Greg, that there's just far too much information for it. You have to think about parents who are out working. Both parents out working, they're busy.
But that's
the time
our
they
fault,
get home,
though, Rebecca. That's our fault, isn't it?
No, I wouldn't say that because...
Well, I think, personally speaking, and I don't want to be harsh on parents, take an afternoon off. I'm very busy. Take an afternoon off and read what the school sends you so you know what you're
I could agree with you
them.
on that, Greg, yeah.
Because it's so important.
I think that it's, the idea of the parents are so busy that by the time they get home in the evening, this is the reality in most houses. They have to try and get dinner ready. They're trying to get homework sorted. They're trying to get them to bed, depending on the different age groups, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
But if you can sit down and watch Arsenal versus Manchester United, or if you can sit down and watch Coronation Street,
I agree with you on that.
You can sit down and see what's being taught to your kids in schools, especially in the area of sex education.
I do agree with that. Yeah. And that's something that I would like to encourage, because this is probably the most important time of our children's lives now. We have got to be careful.
In terms of the national schools, there is a consent form sent out with. There is also I've seen some documentation where they give parents an indication of what's going to be talked about. They
will. Not all of the information that's given in for national school you will get on that sheet.
Okay.
Not all of the information's there. There's an awful lot more information has gone in through there.
So in terms of what's taught in that, because we'll stick with one and then move to the next. So in terms of what's taught in national school, what are your concerns?
Well, I suppose the concern here is it's mostly for every parent and every family to make up their own mind.
Yes.
So it's not for me to dictate to them what they have to decide on.
So in other words, you don't mind this being taught in schools, providing parents are notified of it?
No, there's a difference, Greg.
Right.
I want the parents to ask the schools for the information. There's a massive divide at the minute, and there's a big division because of the fact that because of the books are free going into schools now, parents now don't even have the ability to go and buy the book and then go through to decipher the information for themselves. So
what's in the book in national school that you have the particular concerns with?
Well, my concerns...
And give me the age groups as well, if you don't mind, Rebecca.
Well, it's not a case of going into every year and everything individually, because there's too much information in there.
But stuff
and every school is completely different.
Okay, but just give me some examples then of stuff in national school that we're having this conversation about, that you're concerned about, that you believe parents should know is being taught to kids.
Yeah. Well, there is the aspect of the gender identity, which is causing a big divide with people as well. Some people want them to have some information. Some parents want them to have just a little information. And some people are happy to have no information whatsoever. They just don't want them to go through it at a certain age group. So that's where every family has got to make that decision for themselves.
Now,
But my issue with the school, Greg, is more so to do with the parents have got to have the proper information relevant to the class and relevant to their school, because they have the opportunity to change the information.
Just like I'm working through this in my own head as well, right? Okay, but we at the moment we have an epidemic of abuse of children. The figures are going through the roof. Young kids, and unfortunately, it's most often someone they know. Is there any argument that we should be given information to children, right, that helps them protect themselves, that they can say, that if, provided it's age appropriate, that they can say, no, it's not appropriate that I'm asked to do this to someone, or it's not, and just let me finish the point, because I'm really interested in the answer, that it's not appropriate for me to be touched that way, or it's not appropriate for me to be in this situation. And beyond that, given the fact that a lot of this abuse can happen in the home, would you have any concern, and this is what I'm struggling with in my head, would you have any concern that it might be in the interests of someone at home, as unimaginable as that is, it might be in the interests of someone at home that child doesn't get the information, that they understand what's happening to them is wrong? Do you have any concerns with that? Because where I don't know what the right thing is.
Well, I find I can go by my own children. If you ask them for a hug and they don't want to give it to you, you're not going to get it. If you want to ask them for a kiss and they don't want to give it to you, you won't get it. And I think that we're insulting a child's intelligence.
I understand, but I think you, I know, sorry, and I know my children and your children were both brought up in loving, caring homes, whereby they were fed and they were clothed before I would ever dream of having a bottle of beer. And I'm sure yours were fed and clothed before you'd ever dream of doing something. That's how our children were reared. Yeah. I'm on about children who are going to school hungry. I'm on about children who have more difficult backgrounds that might not be getting the information that you gave your very lucky children. And what do we do? And is the school the place to protect them so that they understand that on top of that hardship, that they're also being abused by someone that's charged with loving them, that they are protected. Because we saw when there was lockdown, the instances of domestic abuse and physical abuse of children went through the roof because they didn't have that safe space. And as horrible as it is to remember, to even imagine that, I can't sit from my ivory tower where I know my kids are happy and safe and not think of other people's kids that aren't getting that luxury.
I totally agree with you, Greg.
So what do we do
But the
to
thing
make sure
that
they're
I would
safe?
say to you is, in order to cut this right down and bring it right back to basics, if you tell a child, boy or girl, to put on their swimming suit, so the boy's shorts, the girl's full swimming suit, and if you tell them at no place where you are covered with that is anybody allowed to touch you,
Yeah.
you would be insulting that child's intelligence if you think that they are not going to understand exactly what's meant by that. And
But
I
if
think
they're
if
in
you
the
bring
home-
it back to
I don't-
plain
yes,
and
but
simple
if-
terms,
of course.
but we're talking about in school here. If that is mentioned in school, the child will know, and they will know when they go back
So
to
you
their
believe
homes.
that goes far enough that if someone's, I don't.
I
even
can't
wanna
go into details of people's specifics and
Yeah,
situations
but I
because
want us to protect.
I don't know.
I don't want any harm to come to any children.
I agree.
Right, and I
Yeah.
don't want any harm to come to children
That's
from
what I'm
they're
about.
being told.
That's what I'm about.
But I don't want
Yeah.
to use my moral sensibilities
Yeah.
to prevent a child from being abused in the home or by someone close to them.
Yeah.
And
But what we
I
have to look at, Greg,
I struggle
is
to think that how do we avoid doing that unless we give them some basic information, and that might involve talking about our bits and pieces, what's appropriate with our bits and pieces and what's not.
But that's where it's down to every parent to make that decision.
But what about the parents
But if
that
you
exploit?
don't
What
get-
about the parents that exploit that gap in information to
Well, then
potentially-
let's deal with those parents separately,
but that's
and
a-
let's deal with those situations separately.
If we weren't already in a position where we had an epidemic of record numbers of child abuse and dirty scumbags taking pictures and sharing pictures of children, I would say, yeah, if our starting point was that we didn't have kids like that.
So what I have to ask you, Greg, is where do you start and where do you finish?
I start with phoning the school,
hmm
finding out what's being taught to my child, and making a conscious decision as a relation
That's
to that.
exactly what I want.
I also think
Yeah.
we have to think as a state that there's a level of communication that needs to be had with children that
Mhm.
parents may not get a say in.
hmm And that's true. But that is the whole point of this, and that is the reason why I'm here today, because we have got to make it very, very clear as to what the parameters are. We need to know exactly what has been taught to our children. And because every school can choose at the minute, to a certain degree, what's been taught, then the responsibility lies with each and every teacher and the principal to make a decision as to what comes into their school.
Okay.
So moving on from national school, because national school is dealt with in a better way at the minute
Mhm.
with regards to the information going home to the parents, but it's still not enough because the link that will be sent out is a generalised link.
Mhm.
There are so many different things and levels where they have to go in to pick out the information out of there. Plus, you still don't know what's going to be taught from that information.
Mhm.
So the schools must specify exactly what is actually being taught to the children in the school,
So
in
onto
their
the
school.
secondary schools, because we don't have a ton of time. So in
Yeah.
now, again, I'm coming at this is that there are organisations, and I've spoke to them on this program, that if a 13-year-old girl goes to them and says, "I understand what sex is,
Mhm.
and I'm sexually active,"
Mhm.
that they will be put on the pill.
Yeah.
That happens in this country right now. So just to put that into context, that there are 13-year-olds who say that I'm sexually active, I understand what sex is, and they're put on the pill. That's
Okay.
happening, right? So
Okay.
that is the.
That's
age
not what I want to talk
I
about,
know,
Greg.
But my point is that's how far down the road we're at.
Yeah.
We're not at the road where we've got 12 and 13-year-olds that are all incredibly innocent either, and that's what worries me. This is an area. I don't have a daughter. I don't know what the right thing is here. I can only.
There's a
control what
massive
boys
difference, Greg, in there. Again, this is where there's also the divide again.
Okay.
Because we have to go with our children need guidance from their parents and from adults. So what I have given you there comes from the book, the actual book that I know is in a school in Donegal. And you're talking about teaching that to 13-year-olds.
So what
13
and
14-year-olds.
It's under a section that's focused on consent. And this is to learn what consent is, whether you want to consent to it or you don't wish to consent to it. And as part of consent, they tell people what sexual activity is. There's a brief description of what vaginal sex is, what anal sex is, and what oral sex is.
Do you think that's appropriate to teach 13-year-olds in a class? That's not age appropriate.
As I say, I don't know, but I mean, it's not graphic. But I think should a 13-year-old, given the fact that the boys of the same age have complete access, because of us as parents, to porn on their phones, would it be advisable for a girl to understand what consent is when fellas
there is ways around that?
I don't know. Again,
there is ways around
know.
that if the government does their job.
Yeah.
And they're not.
Yeah, we're here.
Exactly.
So
they're not doing their job.
Under consent, where there's a big list on what you should or what consent is and what have you. It describes the three types of sex.
Yeah.
Is that age appropriate?
That's only
12,
one part.
13-year-olds. I don't know.
That's only one part,
okay.
right?
Yep.
What I have given you there now.
A well-being journey 2.
That's well-being journey 2, and if you go into that first part,
mm-hmm.
what's in the WHO document is exactly what's printed in that book. And if you look at the bottom, if you look at the front cover of that book, you'll see the name of the book, the name of the author, and what year is that for?
I don't know. It's not a test. Tell me who. It's Leaving Cert. Oh, Junior Cert. Sorry. Junior
Cert, and it's number 2, so that means that's for second years for age 13 to 14
and
year olds.
And is it the developing sexual desires bit?
Yeah.
Okay. Puberty enables us to become sexual beings in preparation for adult life. It's essential that we learn how to embrace this part of ourselves and that we know how to look after our developing sexuality in a healthy way and become comfortable with a new experience and developing that.
Go on now to the next page, Greg.
And what effectively is that it seems the younger person is having a bit of fun in the bedroom.
No, go on to the next.
I know, but let me just outline it for the listeners, Rebecca, please.
Yeah.
And mum and dad walk in on them. Right, they're being caught.
No.
That's what it looks
like. Go
like.
on to the next page.
Yeah, okay. But let's not do this like a test, Rebecca.
That.
Will you say
No,
it?
I just go on to the next page after that.
Yeah.
What page are you looking at now?
Why do people masturbate?
Yes.
Okay.
And what is underneath that particular page there?
Which animals masturbate?
Exactly. So why would they actually put that into a textbook for children for 13 to 14 year olds? Greg, this is not acceptable.
During puberty and adolescence, the sexual pleasure and the physical sensation of masturbation becomes connected to our sexual desires. This is in preparation for when we become adults and can engage sexually with someone else. Masturbation results in varying stages of sexual arousal for both men and women, each resulting in both physical and emotional. See, when I was that age, right, things were happening to me physically. I hadn't a clue what was going on.
But you weren't taught it in school, Greg. You weren't taught it by a teacher.
At home either.
You're not talking about it to your peers within a classroom.
But I didn't know what was happening to me.
But that's okay.
Is it?
Yes, that's okay.
Right.
You learn as you go along, don't you?
Yeah, well,
you've got this far without somebody having to tell you straight away.
So
but
you don't.
My issue is
you don't think young teenagers should be taught about masturbation.
My issue is, why is that printed in a secondary school book?
Yes.
The author of that book, you know about Mary Creedon and the video that was put out.
Yes.
This girl Pam O'Leary, who is the author of that book, was on the course with her at that time. Her book is printed.
Okay.
And it's there for anyone to choose from. So we have to decide, and we have to find out what schools is that book has been accepted in.
You believe? I honestly wouldn't have an issue with my 13-year-olds looking at that.
But that's your.
No, I'm saying just me personally. That's all I'm saying.
And
but
the content of the animals and talking about which one of them masturbate.
I think it's to do with nature and stuff.
No, I think that's going too far, Greg. But what I would say also is, what is very important here, and Mary, I have been talking to Mary Creedon, who is the whistleblower on the SPHE teacher. There's two different things that's happened here. One is from her own class when she sat through that class.
This is the class for teachers now.
Yeah,
not
and this
students.
is about what makes a safe SPHE classroom.
Yes.
And in that it is stated what is said in the group class stays in the group, and this is true for the teacher too. So this is imposing a secrecy on the class. And in one of the books, in the Health and Wellbeing SPHE 1,
just see.
You can, yeah.
This is from the official documentation.
It is, yeah. In the original
So
book,
this is not necessarily about maybe the kids speaking about it amongst themselves afterwards. No, that's not what
that's about in the class itself, and what happens in the class stays in the class.
Yeah.
So why would there be any type of secrecy
does
in
that
there?
not give a safe space for the young ones? Is that not what that means? No.
It still provides a space where maybe they won't want to talk about anything outside of the class, which also means the information that's been taught within the class stays in the class. But who's to say that's all correct for every student?
Right, I get you.
Okay.
Well, it's never going to be correct for every student, because you can have a 12-year-old who's
that
like
information
a 6-year-old
has actually been changed on their new. It has only changed on Saturday evening.
Very good.
So they have taken out, the NCCA has taken that out of their paperwork now.
And have they replaced it with anything?
They have replaced it. They've replaced it with a different wording. To protect privacy, students shouldn't talk specifically with names and retelling stories.
Okay, that's what
Which is a totally different thing entirely.
On my children's lives, I didn't see that in advance. That's what I thought the first quote meant, that it was about the privacy within the classroom, not hiding it from parents. But that's
but the very fact that the interpretation is left open there for the child to not speak about anything outside of the class.
Well, Rebecca, listen, there's a lot in there. I think the takeaway is what do you think is good for your children? What do you think is bad for your children? Contact your schools if you have concerns. Find out your own information yourself, because we're all different. Maybe talk to schools and say, look, if you're teaching this stuff, we need to know. I'm working through this in my head. I don't know what the answer is okay? But at the same...
Can I mention to you, Greg,
if you
I
can
have
do
to
it
put
in
this
about
across.
30 seconds, yeah.
I have to put this across that there was a professor in the DCU SPHE course, and she challenges the children's presumed sexual innocence. So she goes as far as to talk about children from a very young age, from 0 to 5. And that is a complete replica of what is in the WHO document.
Okay. Rebecca McDade, founder of Parents Right. It's important information. The one thing, and I've said this a million times in the show, I am not an expert. I don't trust all experts. But whatever we are doing, it has to be in the best interests of children and to protect them. Not necessarily what we think all the time, actually, because we can come from different things, but certainly within consultation. But whatever we do, it has to be not to damage the children further, but to
children
protect
need
them.
parents' guidance.
Yeah.
And it's up to
I'm
the
a wee
parent.
bit concerned that we're not all as good at giving guidance as we probably should be.
But we're not all like that, Greg.
No, but I'm worried about the kids that aren't getting the guidance. I'm not worried about your children because they're happy and safe. I'm not worried about my children because they're happy and safe.
But you see,
I'm
I
worried
believe that
about
all of the teachers know each child individually.
Yeah, but you see,
and they know who can accept information, who can't.
Yeah.
And the one size fits all, the likes of 10 different books to teach the one subject, and for a school to be able to pick out of any of those books what they want to teach.
Okay.
You don't get that opportunity with any other subject.
All right, Rebecca, listen, we've had a ton of reaction to it. I'm going to be pretty late with the news. My apologies to that. We have the news coming up very shortly. I'm going to take a break. We'll go to a couple of minutes. Listen, it's up to the public, but I think, Rebecca, this conversation is so important in that parents, guardians start taking an interest in this stuff one way or other.
They have
because
to.
Indifference is no good. And as I say, I'm kind of an in-betweener with my boys. They're older than these ages, and another one coming that's going to be going through this. I take a strong interest in this, but I just want to make sure what we're doing is right for the children. And you might be right, or the schools might be right, or maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Whatever it is,
the truth has got to be found out, and the only way that you're going to know is if the parents and the guardians go to the school and they ask for the information.
Okay.
They have to.
Super stuff. Thanks, Rebecca. That's Rebecca McDade. Back with more and your comments after these.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Seasonal loans now available for Christmas. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
For an efficient, mild hybrid system that doesn't compromise on the joy of driving, test drive the Mazda CX-30. This compact, stylish SUV comes with fuel-saving Mazda M hybrid technology and a 6-year warranty. Test drive the 251 Mazda range at McGinley Motors, Letterkenny. Mazda, crafted in Japan.
If you've got a smart meter, you should get an Electric Ireland Smart Meter Plan too. Why? Because you can see a breakdown of your energy usage like never before. From heating, cooking, lighting, and more. Now you can find out how much electricity you use by hour, day, and type of appliance, making your usage clearer and your world brighter. Sign up to a smart meter plan at electricireland.ie. Smart meter required, T's and C's apply.
There's something spooky going on at National Trust Northern Ireland. Sink your teeth into devilly streets and enchanting music at Llewellyn's Monster Market. Creep down to Castle Ward for a bewitching bazaar. Folklore lives in the misty woodlands of Mount Stewart. Feast on wickedly good food, crafts and entertainment at Florence Court's Festival of Colour. Spooky stories at Spring Hill. Face your fears at Carrick-a-Reed and join Finn McCool's Frightful Fun Fest at the Giant's Causeway. Search National Trust NI.
Are you calling me a liar?
No, that's not.
I'm telling you, this isn't what I ordered. Don't give me that look, you little...
Work-related violence and aggression, it's not just part of the job. As an employer, it's your responsibility to protect workers. For guidance and to learn more about your duties, visit hsa.ie.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenny's. If you haven't started using the McElhenny's Layaway Club, it's not too late. Spread the cost of Christmas with designer gifts for the whole family. Available by phone or in-store at McElhenny's Ballybouffet.
All right, the weather forecast. It is going to be mild today, mild and humid, with rain spreading northerly as the afternoon and evening wears on. All right, we are late to the news, 4 minutes past 11. My apologies. It is time for that news update. And we say good morning once again to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. The Taoiseach's calling on the Sinn Féin leader to put everything on the table regarding recent controversy surrounding the party. It follows the resignation of Brian Stanley over a complaint made against him. Another TD, Patricia Ryan, stood down from the party last week. A person has been seriously injured in a crash in Drumkeen in the early hours of yesterday morning. The driver sustained serious but non-life-threatening injuries in the single vehicle crash shortly before 25 to 6 at Ahagalt Big. The vehicle was travelling from Convoy towards Letterkenny at the time of the collision. Gardaí are appealing for information after a male teenager was assaulted in Letterkenny in recent days. The teenager was set upon by another man who was unknown to him in the Main Street area at around 5:25 on Friday evening last. The injuries sustained have been described as non-life-threatening. A man has been arrested in Derry today under the Terrorism Act. Detectives from the North West Criminal Investigation Branch conducted a search and arrest operation in the city this morning. The 43-year-old man has been taken to Musgrave Serious Crime Suite for questioning. People are being urged to not put unnecessary pressure on the emergency services this Halloween. Gardaí in Donegal are warning people to rethink buying or using fireworks due to the horrific life-changing injuries they can cause. Investigations have been launched into 2 incidents of criminal damage in Inishowen, during which vehicles and a house were spray painted. A car and the front wall of a property in the Bonamain area of Bridgend was spray painted between 7:30 on Wednesday evening last and 7 o'clock the following morning, while on Sunday between 8:30 and 10:30 a van parked at Castle Park, Newton Cunningham was spray painted also. Efforts are underway to enhance Dunloo and surrounding areas for locals and visitors. A master plan for the area sets out a roadmap for the development of the West Donegal village over the next 6 years, considering the landscape, the natural and built environment, cultural heritage and language. It's hoped challenges around parking at Errigal Mountain will be addressed also. And Gardaí say they are keen to speak to anyone who witnessed the theft of a van in Bridgend on Thursday night last. The blue Citroen Dispatch long wheelbase van was towed away from Ellabeg Business Park towards Derry between 9:30 and 10:30. Gardaí say work was being carried out on the van, and as a result the engine had been removed and there were no registration plates attached to the vehicle. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12 noon.
Michaela, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for all of your comments coming in on this very important issue that we all take an interest in. They're coming in via text, WhatsApp and commenting on our socials. I'll try and get to as many of those as possible after we take this break, which you have to catch up on.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
Let's talk about lamb. Quality assured lamb.
There's so many ways to enjoy its natural flavour, like tender lamb pieces for a midweek teriyaki stir-fry, or succulent lamb chops, delicious with minty couscous. And for the weekend, leg of lamb with rosemary that the whole family will enjoy. For great meal ideas, visit boardbia.ie/recipes and always choose lamb with the Boardbia quality mark so you know it's produced to Boardbia's high standards, verified at every stage.
Join me, Marty Friel, this and every Friday night from 8 for Rockin' Hits on Highland Radio in association with Arena 7 Letterkenny. If you're celebrating a birthday or a work night out, Arena 7 Entertainment Complex has it all. Check out arena7.ie.
Join Local Enterprise Office Donegal for an event to celebrate National Women's Enterprise Day on Thursday the 17th of October at Lough S Castle Hotel. This free event kicks off at 6 and features inspiring speakers like beauty entrepreneur Grania McCoy and leading health psychologist, author and host of the Super Brain podcast, Dr. Sabina Brennan. Local businesswomen will also share their stories of how to make it happen in business. Register now at localenterprise.ie/Donegal. Don't miss Donegal's premier event for female entrepreneurs on Thursday the 17th at Lough S Castle.
Highland Radio are planning a musical event just for you. Join us as we spend 3 nights in the luxurious Slieve Russell Hotel Cavan from Monday the 3rd to Thursday the 6th of February 2025. You will enjoy luxury transfers, dinner, bed and breakfast and nightly entertainment with some of the very best names in country music, including Michael English, Robert Mazzell, David James, Olivia Douglas, myself Sinead Black and many more. Join us on Highland Radio's Cavan Country Getaway for just $4.89 per person sharing. Single supplement applies. Early booking advised by visiting the outlet on highlandradio.com or call us at 074 91 25,000 today.
Because your health means everything, VHI gives you access to a wide range of clinical services. Join VHI today to get access to dermatology, health screening, hospital at home, and much more. It's another way we're here for the whole you, with the whole of us. Search VHI to join today. VHI Healthcare DAC trading as VHI Healthcare is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland and is tied to VHI Insurance DAC for health insurance in Ireland.
Okay, you're very welcome back to the last hour of the 9 till noon show. And as you would know, hundreds of business owners and workers from the hospitality industry, tourism industry, retail and other sectors are taking part in a protest in Dublin today. They're en route, as is Alice Lynch, owner of Maggie's Tavern St Johnston. Hi Alice, good morning to you.
Hi Greg, great to have, great to be here and great to be on as well. We're on our way to Dublin here. Publicans from all over the county, from North Donegal right down to the Bonnyglen and Glenties. We're all over the place in Letterkenny, Ballybofey. We're all on our way down to Dublin.
What message do you want to get across? Because, you know, Maggie's Tavern, really successful business in St Johnston. That's the perception, right? But I presume behind the scenes, it's a constant struggle to keep businesses open.
Well, it's the fact that the VAT went up 50%, and that is impacted on our own customers, the customers that come into the pub for their dinner or their drinks or whatever. It's the PRSI. It's all of the suites. It's like turning on the light. It's the music. It's the electricity. It's the energy. It's all the hidden costs that have been gradually been hitting the businesses. And the only thing is, I use the word gradually wrongly. They're hitting them all at the one time. So it's the cost of doing business is massive. It's just massive.
And I presume you would feel, as many others would feel, that the budget 25 was a missed opportunity.
Absolutely. The budget was not for business. It definitely wasn't for business. We just wanted a bit of help with the VAT, the PRSI, giving back to the customers what we want to do. Give back to the customer. But the government doesn't see how dire straits that we are in at the moment. It's very difficult. Yes, we are smiling. Yes, we are getting going. But I want to give more value to my customer, as does the restaurants and the publicans all around the area. They want to give back more, but it's getting so difficult for the cost of doing business, the product coming in. Just to give you one example, Greg, before COVID, my kilo of goujons was €3.40. Today, that same kilo is 11.80.
Wow.
Like they have to help us. They have to see about the cost. It's the cost of the products coming in that is so high.
But it's also too, there's things outside of the government's control, but some government policy decisions business owners feel could have been offset in some way or other. Increases in the national minimum wage, paid statutory sick days, plans to increase the minimum wage and what have you. But the bottom line is even with a lower VAT rate, presumably, if the footfall increases, if people continue to go out or even go out more because it's, remains affordable, then the take, you could probably say the take will remain the same or increase even perhaps. But if it gets to the point where people cannot afford to go out, or indeed people can't afford to do business, then there's no VAT. There's 13.5% of nothing is nothing.
Absolutely. Regarding the minimum wage, it's just that everything has happened so quickly. It's just over a window there of a couple of years. We've just got out of COVID and they've just put in increases all the time. Yes, there's sick benefits, but the things that are coming down the line, they're not addressing that to us. Yes, everything is lovely in the outside, but when it comes down to reality, when there's nobody coming into the bars, the restaurants and the hotels, who's going to pay the wages? Is it just going to be back in the dole queue? We don't want that. We want to work with the government, but they're ignoring us at the moment. And we want to sit down at the table. We want to work. We want to keep busy. We want to employ people. And we want, obviously, to pay them well as well, because that is the customer coming back into us. But the government has to see the point of talking to us, saying about the overheads that you don't see. You don't see the music, the MRO increasing. You don't see the electricity increasing. The customer doesn't see that, but we see it. And that's where we want to just chat to the government.
Okay.
Tell them the way it is. Let them know the way it is.
Alice, who else is with you there?
Yes. Okay. I have Sean Kennedy.
I might have a quick chat to Sean if you don't mind.
Yes, a young publican.
Okay.
I'm the old one today. So this is young Sean Kennedy.
Okay, Sean Kennedy of the Thatch in Glenty. Sean, you recently reopened the Thatch. Is that correct? Or have I got the...
Indeed, yeah, back in July there.
All right.
3 months.
And what have you found? Sean?
Well, from my perspective, Greg, I've kind of been involved with hospitality since 17. Very fortunate mum and dad, they had the Harbour Restaurant in Donegal Town, got involved there at an early age. Now, my dad and uncle over in the Thatch Bar and Restaurant in Glenties. And it's just, things have really changed in the industry since COVID. The cost of everything, as Alice has summed it up there perfectly, has gone through the roof since 2019. Yes, COVID happened. We got a decent support package from the government, but this is unprecedented now, what's happening. Everything's gone through the roof. And me from a young kind of age perspective, see my mum and dad's been in it for years. You've Joe, Rorty, and everyone here, seasoned professionals. I think the general consensus now is that we're at a crossroads in the industry, and it's like a burned out feeling. It's anxiety, it's stress. With the bills are coming in, they're getting worse and worse. We're renowned in Ireland for having such a good tourism industry, and it's been such a fabric of our country for years. But there, for instance, too, Donegal voted very great award accolade for coolest place in the world recently. Sure, what good is that if restaurants are closing down week after week, and you don't have in your rural communities that pub where you can go for a good pint, a good chat, or a restaurant like Micheline's there last week, and our well-established restaurant, trading really well for 6 years. They're closed. It's just a raft of closures.
And I'll tell you what, also we have to factor in, for instance, the likes of Glenties. It's a lovely, beautiful, vibrant town, year after year after year, named one of the best kept towns in Ireland. But it needs businesses like the Thatch as you head in to it there. That's the life and blood of a town. So it's somewhere for tourists to go, for locals to go. But also, there's not a ton of employment opportunities. So it keeps people in employment, which pays... mortgages, rent, pays bills, and they rely on you. And there's also a point, I presume, Sean, you can't increase the pint every time. You can't increase whatever food offering there might be. You have to absorb these increases we're talking about because the customers simply won't take it.
Yep, 100%. And don't get me wrong, Greg, see the wage increase and all. that's great to see. You know, the cost of living in this country at the minute, you need the minimum wage to be going up, you know, for the ones in college and all that. But for us as a business, it's very hard to absorb at the minute. Like between the two businesses, I think we have nearly 50 employees.
Wow.
If you factor in 50 employees are going up 80 cents per hour, and let's just say that's 50 employees, well, 50 to 60 by 80 cents, and you're saying, you know, range from part-time to full-time.
When you start adding that up over a course of it, yeah,
that's about €1,000 extra a week.
Yeah, okay, it's
you know, and we want, you know, we have a mantra in the Fashion Harbour. We love giving our staff increases if they do work hard and all. We love to reward them. But there's a certain point here where we're going to have to look at maybe reducing our staff to, you know, to cope with this increase, because the minimum wage is going up about $2.50, I think, in the last year and a half, and that's great because cost of living's crazy at the minute. But for a business, if we're not getting the right support measures from the governments, we're going to struggle to meet that. And you know, we want to put people through college. We want to help their parents to help put people through college, but there has to be a balance here for the business.
Yeah, and it's not just I mean, people working in retail too, they're seeing their hours being cut. They still have their job, but instead of the 39, all of a sudden it's 28. Who else is with you there? I'm not sure who's on a different line or who's there.
Megan here from Betty's.
Lovely stuff. Megan Slevin, co-owner of beautiful Biddy O'Barnes. You're on the way to that protest as well. Again, another hugely successful, hugely popular business, but that doesn't butter the parsnips either. You know, you have to be able to make it worthwhile, because there's a lot of pressure and stress in this industry, right? And you don't want to be just constantly working to keep your head above water. It has to be viable, or we lose businesses, Megan.
Yeah, absolutely, Greg. 100%. Like, I have 2 small kids at home. Our head chefs have small kids, yet we work 7 days a week, all sorts of hours, crazy hours. And we're not the only ones in hospitality. You know, everybody has families, they have lives, and they work 7 days a week. They work Sundays, they work Christmas days. So, you know, hospitality workers are some of the hardest workers out there, and it needs to be viable. It needs to be a viable business so that we can do the minimum, so that we can raise wages, so that we can expand our businesses, so that we can have economic growth and development for our businesses, but for Donegal, for the community. We need to make money so that we can, you know, we're the first place that people come to when the GAA club or the soccer needs a new field and they want sponsorship, and we want to be happy to do that. We want to be happy to support our communities, but we need to be able to afford to do that.
What helps though, Megan? Because, you know, some of the businesses supports, and I've speak to business people, firstly, you have to front load yourself and cash flow can be an issue. Secondly, you have to be completely rates compliant, and often people fall behind. They have payment plans with the council. They're writing down the debt, or they're reducing the debt, but they still would be statistically in arrears and can't avail of some of these government measures, and those are those that probably need them the most. So it must feel like a horrible catch-22 for some of them. But what is the difference maker? Would a 9% VAT rate, how significant would that be in the survival of business, or does there need to be more than that?
I would have liked to say, if they brought in this measure a few years ago, that, you know, from a cash flow perspective, that the 9% would have done the job. But with everything that businesses have suffered since COVID, including, you know, loss of employees just from the hospitality industry as a whole, having to train up new employees, you know, all the price increases from private suppliers, from food costs, drink costs, so on, rates, insurance, like I could go on, everybody does. But I don't think the 9% it's not the silver bullet in this case. I think it would have been a nice nod from the government to do for the hospitality industry. We would have felt like they understood our concerns, and that they value that they value what the hospitality industry brings to the tourism industry and to the economic development of Ireland. Like, there's over 270,000 employees employed in this sector. It's a very key sector. Small businesses, I think, make up 60% of businesses across Ireland. So, like, you know, we hospitality businesses hit a lot of those marks, and we just don't feel like they really valued that, and they really value us. They don't value our employees.
And they're the businesses are still there when the grants run out. Are small and medium, incredibly important. And you know, there are questions that need to be asked. Why do we have some of the highest electricity rates in Europe? Why do we have one of the highest, well above the average of VAT rate? You know, why is especially when the country has an abundance of money, that's what we're being told, right? So is Chris Noble there, or is he on a different line from number 9? Is Chris there? Is Chris there? No, he's not.
Chris.
It's okay. Is Chris there?
Hello.
Hey Chris, how are you getting on, buddy? You're from number 9 in Letterkenny, and I suppose we're kind of reiterating a lot of what we've already said. But yours is another young fledgling business. Do you know what I mean? With all the hopes and dreams that any new business might have. Wonderful product, hugely successful already, but stepping straight into a difficult trading environment.
Oh yeah, it's definitely stressful. We only opened about 7 months ago, and the prices of everything are already really high. Like, it's hard to do it.
Yeah, so you're going to go down there, you're going to join with the others and push for some of these measures. Listen, unfortunately, I could only afford a quick word with you because I do have to move on, but I do appreciate your time greatly. Thank you so very much indeed. So that was, you heard there from Chris Noble, number 9 in Letterkenny, Sean Kennedy of the Thatch in Glentees, Megan Slevin, the co-owner of Biddy O'Barnes, and also, firstly, and foremost, let's just say for today, Alice Lynch, owner of Maggie's Tavern St. Johnson. All different types of businesses from right across different parts of the county, all talking about the difficulty of keeping their doors open. There's a window of opportunity here. I think there's a window of opportunity if the government wants to, and if the public want the government to want to. It's not up to me. I'm not a legislator, but there is a window of opportunity here, maybe to introduce measures that might help businesses survive. But we could be heading into a right old dip, you know, in this country. We have to be really, really careful. A couple of comments before the break. Mary T on Facebook. Sorry, I'll start up here with Teresa. If this is on YouTube. If my neighbour talked about this stuff to my child, I'd phone the guards. What is the difference in schools? Teachers are grooming the children. Absolutely sick. No child protection. I agree, Teresa. You would never accept that. What I'm trying to make sure is that this is a nuanced conversation, and I'm getting a lot of flack for it. I don't really mind. What I'm trying to make sure is whatever we do is the right thing. So say, for instance, we're too liberal at the moment, and that's damaging to kids. Let's just say that that's where we're at. What I think we have to make sure is that we don't all of a sudden become too conservative, and that, even though it's well-intended, is damaging to children. Because, Teresa, what if your neighbour started saying things to your children that all children do this? You have to, this is what children do. Don't tell mum and dad now, but I've many children that such and such a stuff happened, but it's our little secret. Don't tell mum and dad. Don't tell anyone in school. What if your neighbour said that? What would they have the information to protect themselves? Maybe in your house with every child? That's just the question I'm asking. Mary T says, as a mother of, this is Mary T McConnell, as a mother of 4 older children, I do think most young teens know this info, whether we want to believe it or not. My generation was definitely more innocent, but things have changed. You can contact the school if you're worried. Francis says, not every child has the safe and loving environment that lady is portraying. There's vulnerable children out there that need guidance that may not get it from the parents. Children or kids are not as innocent as we were as children. They're exposed to far more worse on the internet. I watched or read an article about like, I don't know what age they were. Like, they weren't teenagers, but like 8, 9, 10, 11-year-old girls dancing on TikTok, following trends. The article outlined what they were, the way we're doing. You could argue it was really quite provocative. But so that's happening, right? Lots of 9, 10, 11-year-old girls, and boys probably, but this article was about girls, are doing this stuff. And there was a study done on the favoriting of the video, so a person can favorite it so that they can access it whenever they like. Some of these videos of innocent 9, 10, 11-year-old girls, their videos were being favorited 4,000-5,000 times by people. Figure out who that is. In their innocence in their bedroom, but these people were favouring it, and you can only imagine why they might be doing that and downloading these videos. Your regular video, I've videos up on TikTok that have loads of views. I can tell you right now, no more than 10 people have favorited it. But some of these videos of these young girls favorited 4, 5, 6,000 times. Who's doing that? Why are they doing that? again, I don't know I have a fair idea what the answer is, but what do we know as parents know about that, and what are we doing to protect the children? That's got nothing to do with school. That's what's happening in our homes. That's what I'm worried about. Josephine says, I'm disgusted at the way Greg kept interrupting Rebecca during such an important topic. Wouldn't even let her finish in sentence. Angry face. Deirdre then says, replying to Josephine, exactly, very arrogant and constantly interrupting. I can tell you there's a lot of things I am, but one of them isn't arrogant. But I do appreciate your feedback nonetheless. Right, we do have to take a break. Loads more of your comments on that very important issue. That's why we're talking about it. There's no point us all fighting amongst ourselves and getting angry at me. Or at least we're having the conversation, right? We're trying to get to the bottom of what's best for our children. So I don't mind you getting angry at me, but what does that achieve? Isn't it far better that it not being talked about and speculated about in other platforms? At least we're having the conversation.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Thinking of upgrading your car? Don't miss out on the iMotors 251 sales event. Pre-order your brand new 251 Kia with us and be in with a chance to win €10,000 cash if you pre-order before December 23rd, as one lucky customer will win this amazing prize. Visit iMotors from October 17th to the 20th.
From the morning routines to cosy family moments, Grant has been bringing comfort to homes for over 45 years. With our biofuel-compatible condensing boilers, heat pumps and underfloor heating, you can trust Grant to heat your home now and into the future. Think heating, think Grant. Visit grant.ie.
Poor Sandra. She's bedbound, burning up, wishing she'd gone to Boots. Her throat's sore, head's pounding, and on top of all that, now she's worried she's missing out. Because judging from the group chat, she's just missed a great night with friends. Make the most of this winter and help protect yourself and the people around you. Get your winter flu and COVID-19 vaccinations at Boots. Book yours in-store or at boots.ie/flu. Boots. With you for life. Eligibility criteria apply. Charges may apply subject to availability.
You could win €10,000 with Top. Every month for the rest of the year, your petrol, diesel or in-store purchases of €15 or more gives you a chance to win €10,000. Sign up and enter at topoilwin.ie.
If you need an eye test, look no further than Louis Walsh Opticians. Letterkenny's longest established opticians are delighted to welcome patients new and old to their state-of-the-art practice in the Courtyard Shopping Centre. Their latest technology includes a 3D OCT retinal camera which assesses the health of your eyes in minutes. Private, medical card and PRSI patients welcome. Call 91 21000 to arrange your eye test.
Louis Walsh Opticians, Letterkenny. Your vision, our focus.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
11:30.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Discover Centra Simple Savers, your go-to for great everyday value. Like Inspired by Centra Angus sirloin steaks, 440 gram, €8. Selected Chicago Town Tiger Crust pizzas, €2 each. And Casiero Del Diablo selected range, €8 each. Centra, live every day. Enjoy alcohol sensibly.
It's the Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever sale. Up to 50% off everything in store. All tiles, all wood flooring, all outdoor slabs, cladding and bathware. Everything slashed in price. This sale is not to be missed. Right Price Tiles and Wood Flooring biggest ever half-price sale extended until Sunday.
Le níosmó bailí ar fud na tíre, so lá rion do Hervís bus nasc le líonar úmpar 5 TFI níos léhanna. So bhád suas le trucha faoin géad nuair a úsáideann tú do chárta líb TFI. Le haid tuile eolais faoi sléite agus amchláir, túir cuairt ar transportforireland.ie. Is sinna Transport for Ireland. Is muid úmpar dit.
Experience total relaxation in the Spa at Orchids at the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran. Recently awarded Best Hotel Spa Getaway at the RSVP Spa Awards. Enjoy luxury spa baths, revitalizing facials, rejuvenating massages, pampering body treatments, outdoor hot tub and tranquil Japanese garden. Visit on a luxury spa day, pop in for some me time or buy the perfect present with a gift voucher. Relax and let the Spa at Orchids transport you to another world. See holyroodhotel.com.
This Halloween, Oakville Park invites you to a family pumpkin patch adventure like no other. Come and pick your perfect pumpkin, where the Scarecrow will welcome you with some spooky surprises. Enjoy the haunted ghost train before or after you explore the pumpkin patch. Pick your pumpkin and hop on board for a spine-tingling ride. Or take the train first and save your pumpkin adventure for later. The choice is yours, but spooky family fun is guaranteed either way. But hurry, tickets are limited for October the 26th, 27th and 28th, so don't miss out. Full details at oakvillepark.com/Halloween.
All right, Cian's with us. Sorry for holding you there, Cian. You are very much of the opinion that Rory Gallagher's Strat needs to stay in Ireland.
Hi, Greg. How are you?
Good.
Yeah,
Thanks, Cian.
absolutely. I think I agree with everything that Barry O'Neill said when he was on with you earlier. I think it's such a hugely significant piece of Irish history and culture, and Ireland is known worldwide for the quality of the music that it has produced, in spite of the size of the country and the population. And Rory Gallagher is a real symbol of Irish, the quality of the music, and his listenership is worldwide. His reach and his legacy, it reaches all over the world. He's got maybe 500,000 at least monthly listeners on Spotify, and if you travel to any of the festivals, namely locally the Rory Gallagher Festival in Ballyshannon, there are tens of thousands of people in attendance from all over the world, and I think to let the guitar go and potentially leave the country and go into private ownership, I think it would be a real shame.
Do you think it would be short-sighted to focus too much on the money, Cian? Because obviously, public spending's a big issue at the moment, but in terms of the cultural value, the artistic value, and I suppose the return on it with footfall and what have you, do you think that we should avoid looking at the short-term big cost? Let's not. It could go for less than 700,000. But do you think it would be short-sighted to think too much about the initial outlay and maybe think more of its cultural value, the long-term value?
Yeah, I agree with you entirely there. I think it's as important as maybe some of a lot of other pieces of history that are currently maybe on display in museums, and I think anyone that travels to Ireland, they're enthralled by the music culture and the way that musicians connect together, whether it's local gigs and pubs, or whether it's trad sessions or music at family events or weddings or funerals. It's just such an integral part of the culture, and then Rory Gallagher Stratocaster is just a symbol of that, and it'd make no sense to let it leave the country. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I think we still struggle to celebrate and be proud of our culture. I don't know if it's because of our history or what have you, but I mean, I can imagine the stink if some very important Beatles memorabilia was heading to Russia. There'd be uproar and no one would mind in England how much was paid for it, I would say. Or something synonymous with Elvis Presley was heading to China. They would probably have no guilt or shame in saying, no, this is our culture, this is important to us, we should retain it. Here, we still struggle a little bit, I think, in that regard to sort of celebrate our Irishness and what it means to be Irish and things that are important to Ireland.
Yeah, I'm totally surprised that it's actually made it to auction, to be honest with you.
Me too, yeah.
Because, I think it's been auctioned by a house called Bonhams in London, and I think the guide price is maybe 700 to £1 million. But when you look at the significance and the history associated with that specific guitar, it's priceless to Ireland. You can't really put a price on. I think it's totally priceless.
All right, Cian, great stuff. Really appreciate it. Well-formed argument. Take care of yourself. That's Cian there. Very much of the view the Gallagher Strat should stay in Ireland. What's your view? And you have been expressing your views in your hundreds. A caller says, and these quite literally are just as they're piled here. I have no idea what they say. I'm just going to read them. I don't see them in advance, and none are binned. They're all just put through. Information is key for young children to have. Schools are right by giving information to kids. We can't have any secrecy regarding sex education. I agree with what Greg was saying. We need to be able to talk about sex. It's no wonder the government is spending €9 million on keeping mobile phones out of schools. This is to stop the children to record what's actually going on, which is quite the claim. This lady talking to Greg is... This lady talking to Greg on the contents of books are totally inappropriate for young teenagers. Teenagers have been given too much scope without consultation with parents. The WHO agenda is to sexualise children younger and younger, and this consent topic is only there so that once a child thinks it's okay and gives consent, the predator is free to do what they want. It's disgusting that they're trying to take away children's innocence. People should read the WHO document. Again, like, I'm just want to make sure that we have the conversation as adults who are responsible here, and don't return to where we were in the past, where it seems almost every child at some extent or other was open to being abused for whatever reasons it was. Would have been nice to hear Rebecca talk and let her explain all without interruptions from Greg. May as well not have her on speaking. It is a conversation. It's an interview. It's not that's the nature of it. It's the same with everything. Very well told, Rebecca. Why so many books for one subject and the sly way to do things as usual? We have someone on talking about the curriculum where I'll get clarification on those books tomorrow for you, by the way. Gender identity is being taught as fact. Unproven ideology should be included as discussions and debate only. At the moment, anyone who disagrees is disrespected and called a transphobe. We need safe changing areas for girls and women and safety and fairness in sport, which is part of the same space, but I think a different space where more people might have difficulty with that, and the fact that it opens up children to other stuff. From what I've been reading for years, not this scandal now coming to light, the NGOs, the WHO, are trying to destroy their innocence. If an adult outside of school spoke to my child about this, I would phone the guards immediately. Why are the schools allowed to teach this filth? It seems to me the authors of these books are grooming children. Teachers will be held accountable for this. Well, listen, I don't think that language helps, because then you could get someone that says, I think other adults want all this stuff covered up so they can do bad things to children. That's completely wrong. And to suggest that I think that they're trying to open this up to groom children's the counterpoint, that's completely wrong. That's not going to help us if we argue with each other like that, because you could make the argument from both sides. And where's the child protection there? Right, loads more coming in on that. If you haven't heard your comment, you probably will before the end of the show. But we're going on to Kathleen Murray now, owner of Doggy Do's and Don'ts. Good morning to you, Kathleen. Thanks for your time.
Good morning, Greg.
Great to speak to you. We heard from the Dogs Trust Ireland. They did a study, I think, which put some flesh on the bones of how scary it is for dogs around about Halloween, particularly because of their hearing so much more sensitive than our own, Kathleen.
Yes, they can hear an awful lot more than we can, and higher pitches as well. So they'll hear fireworks when we don't hear them. So if they become alert and start to look around or run to a window or start to bark, and you can't hear anything, it doesn't mean that they can't hear anything, because they can hear things much higher frequency, as I say, and much further away than we can. So it is a pretty scary time for them.
Yeah, and it's
again, it's that time of the it's just that time of the year where everybody likes it.
I beg your pardon, Kathleen. Sorry, it's also too. We may focus on the fireworks, and that's understandable for many people listening to the show. They won't hear a single firework, but they will get people knocking at the doors. There'll be extra treats in the house and that type of stuff, which we as humans can easily adapt. For some dogs, that can be a bit of an issue. So, in terms of people dressed up, not appearing as human necessarily, and fireworks, any advice for listeners, dog owners?
Yeah, well, advice for people knocking on doors for a start. If you know there's a dog in the house, be careful when you knock at the door. And for the dog owners, take responsibility as well, because most dogs will rush to the door whenever the owner goes to the door, and they'll bark and they'll be all hyped up and excited, thinking maybe it's a visitor, maybe it's somebody they know, and then when they realise that it's not, then things can change very quickly. So, make sure that the dog is under control, it's on a lead, or have it in another room when you go to open the door, especially at Halloween, because accidents do happen. Dogs shoot out past owners, they're gone down the road, they're in traffic, they're lost, they're away from home, and not a serious amount of them are not microchipped, which I can't understand because it's a legal requirement. and then they're lost, and then nobody knows what to do. Then they don't know where to go looking for them. The poor dog is out now in the open where the fireworks can be heard, and they don't know, they're hiding under hedges and things, and
Running
it's
out
a
into
very scary
roads.
time all
Yeah.
round. Yeah, that's right. And traffic are in danger as well then, because they have to swerve to avoid them, you know.
Yeah, there might be stuff in the house that's not ordinarily there, whether it's for your own family or for trick or treaters to presumably keep human treats out of the way of inquisitive dogs and any animals actually for that matter. But we're focusing on the dogs today.
Yeah, exactly, because there's lots of treats, and there's barmbracks and things with raisins in them, which are not good for dogs. You know, there's chocolates. People get in little boxes of celebrations or whatever kind of chocolates that they like themselves, and to hand out maybe to some children or things. And, you know, if the dog gets into that, it's definitely not good for the dog. So you don't want to cause more problems than are already there. So, you know, just be mindful of those things. You know, and as I say, just be careful, especially around the door, because that's where a lot of dogs escape, and that's where a lot of accidents happen, or people might get bitten or whatever. So if you have a dog, put it away before you open the door, or close the door at least between you and the door that you're going to open, so it makes it safe for everybody, really.
All right, now obviously lots of humans will be dressing up, but nowadays you can get all manner of costumes for your dogs between Temu and elsewhere. Do you have a view on whether or not it's okay to stick a pumpkin on your dog?
Well, I've seen worse stuck on them. It's a personal choice, really. Yeah. I mean, most dogs don't tolerate things like that well. They're not that excited about it. It's the human that's excited about it, not the dog, really. A lot of them are just torture. Lots of dogs will just bite them and eat them off, you know, because there's lots of dogs, if they go to the vet and they get on a bandage, the owner can't keep it on because the dog has it ripped off, like within minutes again. So dogs don't tend to tolerate stuff like that stuck to them. Some dogs do, some dogs don't. I mean, dogs can get used to a coat and things on them in the wintertime because it's not hampering them in any way. But for things that hang over their heads or go around their faces or things like that, they just don't like stuff like that at all.
Does a dog need a Burberry coat for winter, or is that just something we do to entertain ourselves?
I don't know about a Burberry coat now, but they definitely, some dogs are kept indoors. They're on the sofa 24/7. You know, they go out into the cold. They're coming out of a central heating environment. A lot of them are small and they're shaved a lot over the winter to be easily kept. You know, yeah, they can get cold. So, but if you've got a big dog with a double coat, they don't need it. Okay. But for small dogs, sometimes they do, or dogs with a very thin coat. Like, believe it or not, a Dalmatian has a very thin coat. Right. Yeah, and they're one of the dogs that could be doing with a coat in the winter time because they can't do well in the cold weather by themselves.
All right, now whether or not they're dressed up or not, mums and dads will be getting it. Please, can I bring Greg out for a walk for when we're doing the trick and treating? Please, you know what I mean. Is there any problem with that? Taking your dog out trick or treating on the lead?
Well, if your dog is on a lead and it's under control and it's a fairly friendly, happy-go-lucky dog, that's fine. But if you bring out a dog that's not socialised, that's not used to things like that, they could shy back from somebody at the door, somebody could put down their hand to offer the dog something, and they could get bitten. So, you know, especially where children are involved, because there's a lot of excitement involved, and where there's excitement between children and dogs, there can be an accident. So just be mindful of things like that. I wouldn't advise taking the dog out, but if you're keeping the dog back from the door, or if an adult is in charge of the dog, then that's okay, especially if it's a dog that you can pick up and put under your arm. If it's a bigger dog, then you need to have somebody there that can manage that dog.
All right, and I suppose too, I think if I had a dog and I knew trick-or-treaters were coming, or there's going to be trick-or-treat stuff around the house, just make sure their belly's full before all that activity starts.
Oh yeah, definitely. Have your dog fed before you head out, and that's good. Also, dogs pick up habits very quickly. So if they go to a door and somebody hands them a dog treat, or some other kind of a treat, and then they go to the next door and they get the same, because people love dogs, like, you know, and most people love dogs, then the dog is going to be like raring to go at the next door, at the third door, and might start jumping up and scraping at the door in anticipation or excitement of the next treat coming. You need to have a well-behaved dog out with you so you're not going to get into trouble or get people given out to you.
And completely unrelated, I don't know if this dog's got an identity crisis or not, but the caller says, my dog would rather eat cat food than dog food. Is that bad?
It's not so much that it's bad, but, you know, dog food is dog food and cat food is cat food. There are certain things in cat food that cats really need that dogs don't actually need, that can be do without. But if you're concerned about your dog's diet or that, you just ring the vet and ask what's the best thing to feed the cat. I mean, lots of dogs steal the cat food. Hedgehogs eat cat food and things, but it's not good to let them do it in general. They need their own nutrients as well. So dog food is dog food. So, or our food, if we eat a normal dinner or whatever, then the dog can also have that, because that's actually really good nutrition, as long as there's nothing in it that the dog can't digest or will make the dog sick.
All right, great stuff. Nice bit of advice ahead of Halloween. Kathleen, thanks so much for your time. Take care. Kathleen Murray, owner of Doggy Do's and Don'ts.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Do you need a little extra help staying in your home? At Bluebird Care, we offer a wide variety of QMark-approved personalised home care services across Donegal. And our fully trained and committed staff will always meet your care needs with kindness, compassion and dignity. To get your personal home care assessment plan, visit bluebirdcare.ie or call our care team today on 07491 29562 and bring care home.
Mary here from the cosmetic department at McGee's Chemist to let you know that Lancome have a great beauty gift available here this week. Buy 2 Lancome products, 1 to be skincare, and you will get a free 7-piece gift containing a 50ml cleansing milk, a choice of Absolute or Hydrocyn travel size creams, and more iconic Lancome products. This is available until Saturday the 19th of October or while stocks last. For any skincare advice, you can always talk to Gemma or myself here at McGee's Chemist, Main Street, Letterkenny.
Do you know the Muffin Man? As in me, Mick, the Muffin Man Madeiros. Imagine how excited I was when I heard that Centra are now serving egg muffins. And not just any egg muffins, gloriously delicious egg muffins with the legendary Super Queen sausage. So go on, make your breakfast so much better and grab yourself one today at Centra.
At PTSB, our green mortgage gets you moving. Whether you're building, buying, or moving to an energy-efficient home, apply online and track your progress on our portal. And with our dedicated mortgage team to guide you along the way, it all comes together for a mortgage experience that's altogether more human. PTSB. Apply online today. A valid BER certificate of A1 to B3 inclusive is required. Lending criteria, terms and conditions apply. Over 18s only. Security and insurance is required. Permanent TSB PLC, trading as PTSB, is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhinney's. If you haven't started using the McElhinney's Layaway Club, it's not too late. Spread the cost of Christmas with designer gifts for the whole family. Available by phone or in store at McElhinney's Ballybuffet.
So, as we head into the afternoon and evening, outbreaks of rain will develop, turning heavy at times. Mild and humid with temperatures of 14 or 15 degrees and a light to moderate southeasterly wind, occasionally fresh and gusty. Greg, I'm glad you had this lady on today. However, I wish you would not rush this very important subject. This show's listener driven, and it's obviously something that we have to return to because it's had such a response. We can't know everything in advance. They go on to talk about other stuff that we talk about. I'll read it all because, again, when people are passionate, they get very sensitive about interviewing techniques. This is a very important subject. We spent hours and days on the defective blocks and other topics that affect families, but please let this lady get all the info out without interrupting or giving your interpretation. The WHO document was actually very important to talk about because all of this is stemming from there. Okay, listen, we'll talk about that down the line. I have a responsibility also as well, and just what I wanted to keep Rebecca on, and she did, and that's fine, is stuff that's in the schools right now or definitely coming down the line, because we need to focus on that rather than other stuff. But anyway, I was listening to Greg and Rebecca. I want to congratulate Rebecca from the bottom of my heart. She showcased the truth. I think that Rebecca would make a great presenter. It's not age appropriate. It's actually encouraging normal, inquisitive children to try this out. Again, unfortunately, if there weren't hundreds and thousands of young teenagers being abused, and if we weren't putting 12, 13, 14 and 15-year-old girls on the pill, and this is unfortunately happening, I read an article on it recently, if 14 and 15-year-old boys weren't putting their hands around girls' necks at the same age because they've seen it on the internet, but the horse is bolted in terms of protecting their innocence. We could do that ourselves within our own homes, but there's an awful lot of children don't have homes that do that. Again, I don't know what the right answer is, just opening up the conversation. Greg, I hope parents go to the school and let the teachers know that this ideology isn't acceptable, full stop, and Miss Foley should resign, not now, not tomorrow. I'm surprised Greg isn't aware of Stay Safe, which is in primary schools. He's muddying the water regarding explicit sex education, which is value-free and not intended to protect against abuse. I'd be disgusted if I thought my 13-year-old was learning about anal sex in school or being told that it exists, is what's happening. I wasn't aware of this and will be contacting my school for more information. Learning that will not educate them on sexual abuse, but it may influence children to explore things their minds are not ready for. Well done to Rebecca for making people aware of this. Greg, I wouldn't like my children or grandchildren to be taught this explicit sex education by teachers or other transgenders. We're not going to be taught coming to schools to teach, so they think transgender people are coming into school to teach sex education. Greg, please stop interrupting. Another our school has made it clear that if parents don't want their children to take part in these classes, that they can opt out of them. That's in our primary school and secondary school. I think children need to know proper terms, especially if there is abuse, as these proper terms are needed if Gardaí are involved. Not every child has a safe upbringing, and kids need to know what's right and what's wrong. All children need to be protected. What year is this group living in? Children and teenagers have full internet access today and can Google faster any part of the body or any sexual act quicker than you can say Google. Most of the TV shows have all this in it. Education is the key to knowledge. Give the children the knowledge and teach them the morals of the behaviour of what's acceptable and what is not. Just in relation to that, like in the case of swear words, you know, I could never protect kids from swearing, and I presume they swear amongst their own friends and what have you. You can never protect them from swearing, but that they know the words and when it's appropriate or not to use them. Well done, Greg. I give that to you a lot, but today you spoke a lot of common sense. Greg, give Rebecca time to answer you. Keep butting in every time she tries to answer your questions. I have 18 minutes to get as much out as is absolutely possible. That's just the way it is. There are loads of other platforms like YouTube or Facebook where you can sit and chat uninterrupted for an hour or two. Or there's other radio shows, I suppose, down the country that are online where the presenter is of one point of view and can indulge whatever point of view that is for 2 hours. That's fine. Unfortunately, we've got different people listening with different points of views, and we've a short amount of time, and it's trying to get as much out there as possible. Greg is making a distinction without a difference regarding the WHO. This agenda, once set out, will inevitably begin to trickle down and is absolutely relevant to Ireland. Until or unless an Irish government makes a stand, that will not be following WHO recommendations. I don't disagree with you in relation to that, but we'd had the WHO conversation from 2019, 2020 and on. The Rebecca was in to talk specifically about what's being taught in schools now, but maybe more time should have been spent on the WHO. I'm an open-minded adult. I've seen the first 15 minutes of the video with the whistleblower. I couldn't watch it any further. If parents knew what was being taught to our children, they wouldn't let it happen. Now, that video, just to be clear, I'm not one side or other, genuinely, I just want to be... That video was her interpretation of a class given to teachers, not to children. Now, whether that would trickle down to children, I don't know, but that video was about a class that she was in DCU. There are a lot of parents who won't contact schools regarding sex ed. Lots of parents leave everything to the schools, and if anything goes wrong, it's seen as the school's fault. In an ideal world, parents would take part in their child's education, but unfortunately many children don't have parents in their lives that do stuff like that. There seems to be a minority agenda to sexualise our children, some of who are still writing to Santa. Of course, why wouldn't you write to Santa? Your kids should be taught about sex, but it must be age appropriate. Teaching youngsters about anal and oral and pornography seems to have a sinister aim. So in that book, on consent for 14, 13, 4-year-olds, it described 3 types of sex: oral sex, vaginal sex, anal sex. And I'm sorry if that language upsets someone. And there was a 5-word description of each. Is that teaching young people about those types of sex acts, or is it letting them know what the words are in case some boy or some girl tries to do that to them? I don't know. Just for perspective, my son is in 3rd year, and in the SPHE class, they get to catch up on homework. I asked him what he's learned in SPHE so far, and it's basically the birds and the bees and where babies come from. Maybe that's the truth as well, I don't know. Please, people, your children are discussing all these topics regarding sex. Would it not be better your children get the truth? I might have been more mature in my teenage years if I'd got the nuts and bolts. Geez, I've been hearing for weeks this was all a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory. We're talking about RSE, relationships. Why are we not dealing with the subject of relationships? We need to know about relationships and how to get on in life, not just talk about sex. It's not just romantic relationships that we need to be teaching either. And on it goes. So many of you. We'll get to those. Loads of your nominations for Donegal Person of the Year for a bit of fun. You have to go to the actual website to vote in that. But listen, we'll catch up on all those comments and much more besides tomorrow. We're broadcasting live from the Radisson. If you're down there, come over and say hello. But for me and the team, enjoy your Tuesday.